Oof. Finally live. You know what? I've been drinking too much of this entire night. All right. Gonna wait till we get some people. Gonna wait till we get some people. Oh, I see. All right. All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All of you. We're gonna wait for a little bit. Now, guys. For those of you that are here, am I okay? Am I still frozen, or what's up? Please give me confirmation. Can you guys, am I okay? Oh, we got one per. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So we're gonna wait for more people to show up. In the meantime, we're gonna continue going. Or first things first. Welcome, 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 welcome to another stream of Dots Connected Through History, and why? Really? Okay, okay. All right. Welcome to another stream of Dots Connected Through History. Hey, we got one person. Hey, I'll take it. If it's just me and Sister Amat, that's perfectly fine with me. So, welcome to another episode of Dots Connected Through History, and we will be talking about continuing the documentary that we've been watching of the kings and queens of England. The first episode, we went through the Norman kings. Now, the Norman kings were essentially from William the Conqueror to Stephen. So now, for those of you that are here, do you guys remember the list of the kings in order? Can you guys tell me the Norman kings in order? If not, it's okay. Because you guys remember the kings in order? It started off with William and it ended in Stephen. So can you guys fill in the gaps in between? Can you? Ah, I think it was, yeah, it was William the First, William the Conqueror, and then it was William Rufus, William, which is William second of his name, William the Second, and then it went from William Rufus to King Henry the First, and then I believe it was Stephen. So William, Henry, Stephen. I mean, if you want to put Matilda, I mean, if that counts too. I mean, I guess if you want to put Matilda, that's fine. So yeah, awesome, awesome. I mean, does Stephen count as a Norman, or is he some? And that's one of the biggest. That it goes back. Well, like in Salam, that's one of the biggest way it goes back and forth. Does Stephen count? I think he does. Hmm. I mean, he was. eh, Either way, so yeah. But in the meantime, let's actually go through the Plantagenet. And I don't know if we left. I do think we did leave off last week where it kind of told you about where that name came from. But no worries, we can actually search it up in our conversation, in our reaction. But let me actually pull it up. We'll wait like another 5 minutes or so for people to come on before we begin. But let me just pull up the stream. Oh yeah, I gotta put the link up too. What are these random names? These random names were Mr. Doctor. For those of you who may miss the first episode, so essentially we were going through the dynasties of the kings and queens of England. So the first dynasty that we were talking about were the Normans, which essentially are French Vikings, that the Normans, right? French Vikings. And from the year 1066, it started off with William the First, which is who is known in history as William the Conqueror, and then the last of the Norman dynasty, I believe, was Stephen. If you want to go Stephen or Henry, which is cool. I personally think it was Stephen, but yeah. So that's where the names came from. So it was William the First, William the Second, Henry the First, and Stephen the First, or Stephen essentially. So that those were the Norman kings of England. The next dynasty that we're going to look at is the Plantagenet. Plantagenet. So yeah. Now throughout this entire documentary, there are going to be several dynasties to look for. The first one is the Normans. Then you have the Plantagenet. Then you have the Tudors, then the Stuarts, then the Hanover. I think the Hanovers. Yeah. So yeah, there wasn't another Stephen. I think they were all, Sister Matt. How many? Here's a pop quiz for you. How many kings or queens of England? There was only one of their name. There was no second, third, fourth. There was only one. How many? The Hanovers, yes. How many? You got Stephen. Who else? Oh no. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Got it. Cool. Let's put it up. So yeah, you got Stephen. Darn it, you got it. I think, but there was. Well, no, technically she's the second. Was there one more? That's what I was looking for. Yes. Okay, you're on your game. One of these days, you and I gonna have to have a little history contest. You and I just go butting heads. Because honestly, you give me a run for my money. You really do. But it's all in good fun, and I really do appreciate that. I do. It's awesome that someone shares that vigor for issue the same way I do. So, yeah, enough. That's enough. But let me post. Let me before we go. I do need. Again, this is something I want people to participate in. So, I do want people to come and join me so they can give their 2 cents. It will not just be me. I refuse. Okay, how do we do this? Nope. Let's do. There we go. Mm, this. Nah. This is fun. Let's see. Oh, you can come up. Oh, finally. Wow. Yeah, let me go hurry up and post that link then. I've been waiting for this day. 1 second. No thanks. Okay, let me put the link up. All right, all right, all right. I'll post it. All right. You think I have this set up originally before I begin? Whatever. All right, let me pin the link. Hmm? Mm-hmm. I'm still active, right? Come on, what the heck? Okay, good. This is weird. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's I already put the link up, man. Let's have to pin it. All right, let's go ahead and begin. In the meantime, the link is already up. Okay, the link is up. I just have to pin it. For some reason, it wants to be done. I don't know why it doesn't see me going active. All right, so those guys, the link is up. Now it's gonna take a bit. All right, so it seems like we got quite a bit of people here. That's pretty. That's good. That's good. All right, let's go ahead and begin right now. Hey, bro. Don't rush me, okay? Don't rush me. And all right, no problem. One more time. Don't know why I can't. Did I put this stuff in private? It is supposed to be. Anyways, so let's go ahead and continue in the meantime. All right. So this is about the Plantagenet dynasty of England. Let's go ahead and continue.
The next year, utterly worn out, King Stephen retired to his grave. On the 19th of December 1154, there was a double coronation in Westminster Abbey. The 21-year-old Henry III was crowned king, and his 33-year-old wife, Eleanor, was crowned queen consort. Eleanor, Duchess of Aquitaine, knew all about being a queen. When she was 15, orphaned and the richest damsel in France, she was married to the heir to the French throne, and a few days later the pair became King and Queen of France. The King of France was a saintly figure with perhaps a rather low sex drive. Eleanor came from a family of lordly troubadours, whose court was dedicated to interesting love affairs. She later said that she thought she'd married a man, but had married a monk. She had a series of affairs, including one with Matilda's husband, Geoffrey of Anjou. He, rather dashingly, wore a sprig of broom, Plantagenista, in his hat, so people called him Plantagenet.
First of all, wait a minute. Okay, the audacity, the audacity. Matilda's husband. So for those of you who didn't know, Matilda from the last episode of of the stream of going through the Normans, Matilda essentially was that one woman who was the sister of Henry. Now she became the empress of the Holy Roman Empire until her husband died. She tried to come back and gain the throne, and she actually did gain the British throne. The problem is she got a little uppity. How do I know she got uppity? Because unfortunately, being queen in England or being a monarch in England ain't the same as being empress. So whereas in Germany or the Holy Roman Empire, they essentially have absolute power, whereas in England necessarily they don't. They have it's more restricted. So because Matilda didn't necessarily understand that, the people who actually imprisoned Stephen said, you know what, no, she's getting uppity. Let's get rid of her and bring back Stephen. So her husband essentially, well, apparently there was this woman named Eleanor, and Geoffrey of Anjou, the Plantagenista. That's where the saintly or the holy, the royal line of the Plantagenet dynasty. That's how it started. So that's amazing. That's very amazing. All right. Oh, what the hell, man? Are you serious? Are you serious? No, fix yourself. Nah, I refuse. Nope, not you. Not you. Not doing it. Let's continue. All right, let's go ahead and continue. This is much better. I like this much better.
Eventually, all the Angevins, the whole family line, wore it on their crest. She then had an affair with Geoffrey's son, the attractive young Henry, a bright, well-educated athlete with vitality, intelligence, freckles, and money. According to a contemporary chronicler, Henry's father had warned his son off her, saying that she'd been his lover, and she was the wife of Henry's overlord. Henry was Duke of Normandy. But Geoffrey died in 1151, and in 1152, Henry got Eleanor pregnant. Hey. Louis, who probably didn't know that detail, had their marriage annulled, and she married her toy boy. Of course, she did all she could to encourage his efforts to become King of England and make her a queen again. The coronation of 1154 must have been most satisfying for her. He didn't make his mother's mistake of claiming to be above the law. Instead, maintaining proper form, he issued a charter confirming all the liberties that were in force under his grandfather, Henry I.
You slept with you slept with your husband and your husband's. Ah, ah, brother. You slept. You slept with your husband and your husband's father. And okay. Anyways, guys. Unfortunately, I have some news, and there's a special guest backstage, and I don't know. I don't want this person to come up, but there's a special guest backstage, and she's gonna come on. Okay. What do you want?
Hello.
What do you want?
Um, you invited people on, and
I invited people, and not you.
last time I checked, I'm a part of people. I'm a
No,
person.
no, you're not a person. You're not a person at all.
Okay, so I think that right there, you need to fix your glasses or maybe get better lighting, and stuff because one, we can't really see you, and that shadow you're casting is just
Well, for one, I like the dimness. It's a vibe going on.
your your
Besides,
your head and your face, they're blending. I can't tell the difference between your forehead,
anyways, for
your
those of
hairline.
you,
Maybe you're hiding something.
anyways, for those of you who do not know, this is my loving sister.
Yay.
This is my loving sister. Yeah.
Why do you say it
So
like that?
yeah, because I'm gritting my teeth. I'm really gritting my teeth here.
Oh yeah,
So
don't do that. I have the better teeth, so don't do that. It's not good for you. When you
yes,
get older, they'll
yes,
fall off.
yes, Sister Fatima. She's got the same name as you. Yes,
Oh,
that's
the
her.
better one.
Anyways, so you would you like to participate in the reaction
I mean,
in the
that's the
stream?
whole point. I thought,
Okay. Oh my! All you have to do is say yes, man. Oh my gosh.
well, it took you long enough to invite me. I thought you were gonna be,
Uh huh.
afraid.
I am. And again, I will kick you out. Follow the rules. Follow the rules. Okay. But
What are
anyways,
the rules?
the rules is listen to me. All right. So let's go ahead and continue.
Oh, by the way, I knew that Victoria one. I knew Victoria one was a name that was not repeated because she's my favorite. Just wanted to give you
Did you
that.
know
Go ahead.
Anne? Did you know Anne?
No, no, no. I notice I only referenced Victoria. I did
But
not
you
mention Anne. That one was said by somebody else, but I was telling my husband here. I was like, Victoria.
whatever. Okay, cool. Congratulations. You could get a cookie, but you wouldn't have gotten Stephen or John. Okay.
If it's a macadamia nuts cookie, that's fine.
I love hot chocolate though. Yeah. Anyways, let's go and continue.
Combination of his lands and Eleanor's meant that this King of England ruled more than half of France, though as the vassal of the French king. It would have been too much for almost anyone. But Henry was a man of extraordinary restless energy who travelled vigorously round his realms and would order his court to hit the road with no notice whatever.
Probably because he wasn't having sex.
He got
I mean, do you think he actually knew that his father made it with her? Like, what are the chances he actually knew that?
Well, I'm not surprised. I would not be surprised because it's very hard to keep a secret back then.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is that's why he has so much focus because he was not partaking in those activities.
Oh yeah, no distractions. I bet. So, I
Mhm.
mean, at those times, they really didn't marry for love or nothing like that. It was strictly just for the
They all
crown or
had
anything like that.
concubines.
I mean, everyone did. That was the obvious thing. So it is what
Exactly.
it is. So let's go ahead and continue.
England up and running with astonishing speed. He had all newly built castles destroyed so that individual lords could not stand against him, and got the law functioning again. He organized government into ministries, with the Chancellor of the Exchequer playing the role we would now recognize as Prime Minister. The chap in question was the son of a London merchant. He was Henry's closest friend and colleague. They joked and drank together, and he lived as the greatest lord in the country, Thomas Becket. Between them, they reformed the currency, finance, government, and began the changes in the judicial system that would lead to the system of trial by jury. England was beginning to develop a commercial life. Towns were growing, the population was becoming better educated. The new system for running royal courts asked groups of local people, often peasants, to report and decide the facts of the case. The system that had worked for the conqueror, allowing the people to run their own country, was at the heart of Henry's way of getting everything up and running again. Perhaps that was why he needed a Londoner at the heart of his government. The next stage in his reforms was to reduce the power of the church, which had become the only functioning judicial institution during the chaos of Stephen's wars.
And this was one of the reasons why being a king in England is not the same thing as being a emperor or an empress in the Holy Roman Empire, because for one, essentially, you being king, the Pope or the church had a higher say than you did. So your power was limited. It couldn't go against the church. It really couldn't. And that's one of the reasons. Now, how was that different from the Holy Roman Empire? Simple. Because the Holy Roman Emperor was the one who appointed the Pope. So the Pope, it's kind of like a chicken or the egg situation. Meaning when the Pope would arise, the Pope can actually, and if an emperor dies, the Pope can actually, crown the next emperor, but the emperor can remove the Pope. So there was a difference between how power was held. In England, there was no such thing. They were all completely with the church, whatever the Pope says, whatever the church says, they went by it. The church was the highest power. Whereas in the Holy Roman Empire with Matilda, well, that wasn't necessarily the case, because those guys were from a different place, were from a different land. Even some of them practiced a different form of Christianity. So around that time, it was more of a conglomerate. So it was kind of easier to kind of sidestep the church. That's one of the reasons why being a king in England is not the same as being an emperor or a king somewhere else. The church is one of those reasons. Anything else you want to say? You want to add something?
So it's just like the president and the Supreme Court. The president gets to decide and choose the Supreme Court justice, but then they get to rule on the law.
Mm-hmm.
So if you choose a Supreme Court justice, you would hope that they would be loyal to you because you chose them.
And that's the thing. And the funny thing is, now imagine if the president chooses the Supreme Court, right? But then when the president dies, the Supreme Court can control who becomes president. So now it's the who came first, who has more power, the chicken or the egg. Meaning, on one hand, how you can't remove me if I train you to be obedient since you are young. And that's why one of the worst things that could happen in history is to have a king die and the next king is a baby. The one who's going to inherit the throne is like 5 years old, 6 years old, 4 years old. That means essentially the church or the eunuchs, the councils, would kind of raise him to be weak, to be open-minded, to not be stern. And this is where we have a lot of issues, especially pertaining to the Holy Roman Empire. If you're
Victoria.
Well, no, that never happened. That essentially did not really happen that much in England, but it was widespread, prominent, and it was a huge issue because around this same time, a lot of the popes started getting uppity, which came in direct conflict with the Holy Roman Emperor. Because why? It was like that. There was a closer distance and stuff like that. So the Holy Roman Emperor kind of dealt with that more than the King or Queen of England did. Because even after Victoria came at a time where England separated from the Catholic Church. So Victoria did not have to go through that. Because it was Henry VIII that kind of separated himself from the church. So it was kind of easier in that kind of sense. So let's continue.
Anyone accused of a crime who could read a line of Latin was deemed to be a churchman. That made them immune from the royal court. They could only be judged and punished by the church. Of course, the church wouldn't agree to give up its privileges, so when the Archbishop of Canterbury died in 1162, it seemed a smart idea to install Thomas as the new archbishop. Then he would deliver the church to Henry. Actually, it seemed a pretty terrible idea to Matilda, who warned Henry not to do it. What did his mother know? Look what a mess she'd made of things. Eleanor was also against it, and she hadn't made a mess of anything. She'd been a very competent regent when Henry had been abroad, and must have seen what Henry had not seen, that Thomas Becket's driving force was not loyalty to Henry. Oh, surely not. She was just jealous that Henry spent more time with Thomas than with her. Henry was sure it was a really good idea. Of course, it was a really bad idea.
It was.
Why did Becket become fanatically committed to the church as soon as he got the job? Why did he wear Hessian underwear with lice and lash his body? Why did he oppose the king's plans more fiercely than any other bishop? He ended up
So for those of you who don't know, Thomas Becket was a radical church, like he was a radical, like a borderline extremist church member. So appointing him, imagine him not necessarily caring about England. He cared more about whatever the church says. So yeah, he was a religious fanatic, and it was very, very, very tumultuous.
Communicating the bishops of London and Salisbury and sacking the Archbishop of York for not opposing the king.
Oh snap, we got somebody backstage. Oh snap, okay, it's about time. Hey, how are you doing? Are you there? Can you unmute yourself, or are you...
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. This is what you sound like?
Yeah.
Wow, hey, no problem. It's good to finally hear you. Assalamu alaikum.
Hello.
Walaikum salam.
All right, Sister Amat, this is my older sister. This is Sister Amat. She is someone that gives me a run for my money when it comes to history. I think she likes history more than me. I
like her already.
So yeah, and I've known her for years, but this is the first time I'm hearing her actually. So I'm at a loss. So hey, welcome. Again, any of you want to chime in, any of you want to comment on certain thing, just let me know and I'll pause it, okay?
All right.
All right, let's keep going.
He'd already acquired all the earthly power and wealth possible. Now he had a bigger ambition. He was arguing that the church must rule everyone, including the king.
Yep.
This was especially dangerous as Becket was hugely popular. Henry was given to rages, and the situation was bound to enrage him. Who will rid me of this turbulent priest? On the 29th of December 1170, 4 of Henry's loyal knights did just that. Slicing off the top of his head at the altar of his cathedral, in the words of an eyewitness, the red of the blood mixed with the white of the brains, like white of the lily and the red of the rose.
Poetic.
This was shocking. Henry had to distance himself from Becket's murder and win the hearts and minds of his subjects.
You know what? I have to ask you two. If you were the king in that position, politically, would you guys have been okay with it? What would your next move be? Because you got a radical literally who's saying, you know what, the church should rule over the king, and unfortunately, he's very popular. Not only is he popular with the people, because remember, King Henry, he's not really English. He's more of a foreigner than he actually is an actual Englishman. Thomas Becket is an actual Englishman. He's a priest. He's the head of the church. England is comes second to the church. He's a fanatic, and his own people and the church love him. but it sucks for you. How would you? How? Well, what would your response be? What would you do? Let's start with. Go ahead, sis. What would your response be?
Okay. Well, this might not be. Oh, you're setting me up for this one.
Oh yeah. And Sister Amat, you're next. So.
Okay.
All
Well,
right.
so for me, okay, so there's two sides, okay? The logical part of me would be to um do more stuff in the background and not make him a martyr, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because killing him would make him a martyr.
Mm-hmm.
However, so that's the logical side of me where it's like I would not do anything to him publicly, but I would try to go about discrediting him, right? In the
Mm.
background. Now the other side of me would be, well, get rid of him. um, and deal with that consequence, ruling with an iron fist a little, dealing with that consequence and any possible uprising that might come, or you nip it in the bud as soon as you can before it gets bigger, before
Mm-hmm.
he has a bigger voice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Now, which one I would choose, I will leave that for interpretation. So, yeah.
Alrighty. I see you're gonna be a tyrant. Got it.
No, I said both. Okay, there's one part and then the other side. I am giving both options. I did
Nah,
not say which one I would choose.
you
It's both options.
you didn't say which one you choose, but your face did. Okay, Sister Mat, which one would you choose?
Yeah,
How would you go about it?
what I do is I just let my knights take care of it and then do exactly what Henry did
What the
later.
heck? You girls are vicious. What the heck?
Be like,
Honestly-
oh, you're dead. Was it so sad?
Honestly, yo, Sister Mat is worse. She's over here like, you know what? I'll let my knights take care of it. Take care of it. Like, wow. She was just giving
Yeah.
the word, and so there's got to be for me. Okay, if I'm being honest, obviously it's a huge problem. Unfortunately for me, there's no way I cannot make him a martyr strictly because he's an actual Englishman. Even though I'm the king of the country, I'm a foreigner. Like, even genetically, I'm a foreigner, and I don't really know much English, by the way. I'm a foreigner, and he's actually, so for me, I can't necessarily. It's a tough task for me to ruin his name, especially since he's backed by the church. Meaning, even if I ruin his name, simply because he's part of the church, people are going to accept him anyway. So the way that I can, unfortunately, I have to. What I'm gonna do is create a propaganda group. Meaning, I'm going to try to get rid of him, but I'm not gonna tell my guards to do it. I'm going to actually pay a third party, someone who's who was verbally. I'm gonna plant him, and I'm gonna say, hey, I'm gonna tell him to say, hey, I go against Thomas Becket. I go against Thomas Becket. He sucks, etc., etc., right? And then I'm going to pay him to get rid of him. And then afterwards, then I'm going to try to play the crowd. Before he says anything, unfortunately, I'm going to execute him because I need to make sure he doesn't talk. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait until he's killed Thomas Becket. And then afterwards, I'm going to try to play not politics. I'm going to try to ease my way to the crowd because why? My people may think I have something to do with it, which I do. I need to get them to stop thinking that I have something to do with it. What am I going to do? I'm going to say, people, our beloved Thomas Becket has died, and these guys are the ones that unalived them, that killed them. So I gag their mouth so they can't talk. and I'm going to unalive them right now because we all are saddened by this atrocity that they have committed, and they alone. Now I got rid of Thomas Becket, and the people love me.
Okay.
That's Shakespearean.
I was just about to say that.
Macbeth.
But
Very.
going back to ruining his name, it has happened throughout history where they do that, and
Mm-hmm.
especially perfect example is America and Martin Luther King, or any like peaceful leaders where they start talking. So Martin Luther King, it became a thing where it's like, yes, he was preaching peaceful protesting and everything. However, what came out about him? Oh, he was cheating on his wife. Here's this
Mm-hmm.
pastor, here's this minister, a person of God, right? And everything, or a reverend who is not faithful to his wife. Oh, mysterious. Those information comes out. And there are some people who kind of started looking at him, sideways a little bit, like,
Yeah,
oh, here you are,
like
a
it
man of
diminishes work
God.
and stuff like that.
Exactly. So
Mm-hmm.
then it's like when when the assassination happened, when he passed away and stuff, there were still some people, and even today, there's some people who keep saying, "Oh, I have a dream," the speech and everything. However, but they still talk about that part. So I'm
Yes.
saying it has happened throughout history where they do try to work in the background too,
Mm-hmm.
before they submit the final blow. That way, it's not as egregious.
Good point. Before we, Sister, Ma, any other comments you want to say before we continue? Is that a no? Okay.
No comments from
Uh,
me.
go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
She said no comment.
Nothing from me. I have nothing to say.
Okay, no problem.
I've
Let's
seen
go.
this documentary before, so I know what
Uh, oh yeah.
I don't
By the way,
spoil it.
like I said, she's more hardcore than I am, so she's seen this. She's seen this too. So that's why we do more interaction because she already knows what's up. You know what? After we actually I want to play a game with you, Sister Matt. So after this, we're gonna play like a little quiz, and now we have a third party here who's going to quiz us to see who knows a little bit more about this topic. Because dang, I'm a little bit worried about it now. So, but let's see when we get there. Okay.
Okay.
Becket was immediately the most popular martyr in the country. 100,000 pilgrims flocked to the site of his death. He would obviously be made a saint as soon as possible. The danger,
Yep.
of course, was that the Pope would excommunicate Henry and pronounce an anathema against him as the murderer of England's primate. The population would turn against him in England, and the King of France would seize his vast lands across the Channel. Henry immediately fasted, went into extravagant mourning, and then did penance. Prostrating himself before the Canterbury altar, he was publicly lashed by a monk.
Hey yo.
It worked. He saved his kingdom from the Pope. Saving it from Eleanor was much more difficult. Eleanor and Henry had drifted apart, partly because of his love affairs and partly because she feared that Henry's adventure with Becket threatened her own beloved Aquitaine. She had gone back there. She set up her own court, the Court of Love, and that was where she raised her sons as romantic warriors and plotted against him. Henry imprisoned her there for 16 years, but her plots continued unabated. She supported her older sons in rebellion against Henry, trying not only to ensure her control over her own lands, but to take over from him. The only one who remained loyal was John, the youngest. In 1189, the oldest surviving son, Richard, inflicted a major defeat on his father. Henry met Richard near the Loire to arrange peace terms, but when they publicly embraced, Henry quietly growled, "May the Lord spare me until I've taken vengeance on you." Back in his own chateau, Henry...
Okay, that looked personal. I'm just saying.
Would it not be personal?
Huh?
Isn't it personal?
No, I'm talking about him, his face. Like that looked personal. I mean, living in a day where my own son, I have to threaten my own son. My own sons are trying to come after me. Literally, my sons. Yeah, yeah. John remained loyal, but yeah, but my own sons are trying to dethrone me, and this is where today we're talking about blood. No, blood's thicker. Blood's thicker than water. At that time, blood's thicker than water. Yeah, but water is ever flowing. Blood will kill you.
Isn't
Like,
that the Oedipus complex? Sons are supposed to want to kill their father for their mother.
yeah, and see, and that's where a lot of the mythology, Greek mythology, and Roman Norse. It's all the main theme is always the father fears being replaced by the son. That's always the common theme. You have Zeus, then Zeus fears Hercules. Zeus fears Ares and stuff like that. And well, Oedipus being someone telling him, "Hey, you're gonna kill your father and marry your mother." Hello. So yeah.
Asked for all Richard's supporters to be read out. The first name on the list was John's. Henry was heartbroken. He died in delirium a few days later. Eleanor's imprisonment was over. Henry had recognized Richard as his heir, and Richard intended Eleanor to rule England. He had more important things to do. Crusade. Eleanor had been on crusade when she was young as the wife of the King of France, but also as the leader of her own feudal army. And now the Saracens had reconquered Jerusalem. Richard the Romantic, Richard the Lionheart, was a totally fearless warrior whose whole upbringing had been based on Eleanor's idea of chivalry. Poet and swordsman, Christian knight and tournament hero, a handsome and dashing leader of armies, Richard tried to live out the fantasy life of one of the heroes of Arthurian literature from the stories told and sung in the court of love. He came to London for his coronation, but only so that he could collect the funds to pay for his great crusade to his coronation.
You know what? I think this is one question I want to ask you. I know you two have seen statues of men on horses. Now there are three types. There are statues of men where the horse is on, he's thrusting up. Then there are statues of like this one where the horse has one hoof up, and then there are statues of men with both of them. Do you guys know what the difference is?
Um,
It's
if
like it's
I'm
like that for a reason. Yes, it's like that for a reason.
I've
actually,
never really thought about that.
Oh yeah. Unfortunately, I don't really have anything much to do, so yeah, I think about those things. So apparently, if you ever see a statue of a man or a woman on a horse and both their hooves are up, that means the battle of which they are. That means the battle of which they are known for. That battle, necessarily, they died in that battle. So anybody who has a hoof and their horses are like this, that means it's like their final charge, essentially their final charge in that battle. The specific battle in which they made that statue for, that means he died in that battle. And if you have cases like this where somebody is on a horse and the horse has one hoof up, that means he didn't die in the battle, he just died because of the battle. Meaning
Oh,
he sustained injuries related to the effects of that battle. So, and this one was Richard. Richard in the Crusade. And by the way, Richard was the everyone. I'm pretty sure everyone knows Saladin or Salahuddin. Richard was the Christian counterpart of the. I believe it was the Third Crusade. Yes, it was the Third Crusade. Richard, the Lionheart of England, and Salahuddin or Saladin, Ayubi, and they were the ones who fought with the Third Crusade. And there was a particular battle. I forgot what battle it was. Richard, it's gonna tell you Richard's gonna sustain injuries because of the battle that's going to kill him, because of it. So anytime you see a horse, anybody at all, anytime you see a horse where the hooves are up, they did die, but not. It was because of the battle, not in the battle. And then anybody who is on a horse and all the horse is on all four of its hooves, it means that person just he didn't die in the battle. He didn't die because of the battle. He may have died for some. He may be alive. He may have died because of unrelated issues. So, yeah, that's. And once I found that out, I said that's kind of dumb, but I like it. So, yeah, it just thought it was.
There's another thing.
Go ahead.
Uh, does anyone know about Richard's marital life?
Which is marital life.
It's hilarious.
I don't think he was married. Was he married?
He was married, but he wouldn't go near his wife, so his mother had to chase him along with his wife.
Dude,
Oh,
oh
that's
yeah,
funny.
he was too much of a romantic. He's like, no, I can't touch you, but I'm your wife. Yeah, but you're a married woman, but I'm your wife. No excuses.
Maybe he just loved the romance and not the other part.
he liked the chase and not the. All right, let's go and continue.
That's funny.
but only so that he could collect the funds to pay for
Just
his
one
great
more thing. She
crusade to
was
recover.
the only queen of England who never set foot in England because she
Yeah.
was too busy chasing her husband around.
Oh wow.
And
That's
I
rich.
believe even Richard himself, most of his reign, he wasn't even in England either, because again,
No, he
the queen
wasn't.
had to go. Yeah, he was all fighting crusades. So yeah, I mean, some king of England,
Talk
dude,
about
not
being
even.
rejected. Good God, how ugly was she?
Literally, your husband would rather say, you know what? Let me go fight a battle before I stay here with you. Like,
Oh no, but then his mother had to force Eleanor of Aquitaine had to force him to get married, and he was putting that off.
yeah, because he didn't.
Wow.
Again, he didn't really. Not saying he didn't care. Richard the Lionheart was known to be a very very religious fellow, and at that time, he was focused on a lot of things. He was more focused on crusade and getting the Holy Land back to the point where women didn't really affect him. He didn't want to be distracted by women like that. So essentially, that was him. I mean, hey, people are people, but yeah, I cannot relate. Let's just say that. All right, let's go and continue.
Jerusalem from Saladin. He went off on his crusade, declaring that he would sell London if he could find a buyer.
The king, everybody.
The crusade itself, the Third Crusade, was a sequence of great heroic and daring actions that completely failed to conquer Jerusalem, associated with bursts of extreme brutality. Saladin quite rightly pointed out that while Richard might be able to get an army into the city, if he wanted to hold on to it, he would have to spend the rest of his life there. The two men never met, but they fascinated and respected each other. When Richard was ill, Saladin sent his doctor. The final truce ensured that Christian pilgrims would be free to visit the Holy City. But that had actually been Saladin's policy before the crusade even began. Richard typically decided to make the journey home in 1192 into an adventure, traveling alone and in disguise. That was how he got captured and ended up imprisoned by Duke Leopold of Austria.
He wanted to take the long way back home just to not be home, and then he got captured.
It was running from something.
Um, yeah, a lot tells me he wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed.
And the funny thing is, apparently, during the whole crusade with Saladin, he was trying to. Apparently, his reason for fighting Saladin was to allow Christians to get Christians to go to be able to go to the Holy Land. It wasn't until later in the battle where he found out that Saladin was doing that beforehand. He was already doing that. He's like, wait, what? No, you guys can come from the very beginning. What the hell? So
we need to actually come to a conclusion that maybe he might have had a couple of concussions in the battle,
I mean, he ran away from his wife, which you know,
and
yeah, he
I'm
went off
just
in battle,
saying.
and then he said, you know what? Let me take the long way back, and then I'm gonna get captured. Okay, yeah, Richard the Lionheart, my butt.
Man he'd repeatedly insulted during the crusade. The
Yep.
King of England had been found in an inn in Vienna, unconvincingly disguised as a kitchen knave. The ransom Leopold demanded was £100,000, about 8 years' income to the exchequer. Richard's recklessness was crippling for the kingdom and eventually fatal for him. As a storybook hero, he always seems to have expected a happy ending and would sometimes even forget to put on armor. And that was how he got killed in the end, taking
What?
a stupid chance at an unimportant siege in 1199. A crossbow bolt wound became infected. While he was dying, the man who'd loosed the shot was captured and delivered to him, and Richard carried on behaving as though he was in a storybook, making a great gesture of releasing the man and giving him money.
Huh?
Richard had no heir. He named his brother, the 32-year-old John, as his successor. Richard, aged 41, died in his mother's arms, England's hero king, who detested the country and had spent 6 months of his reign there.
Wait.
I go
What?
back to the Oedipus complex. Let's go back to Oedipus.
What? 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 Okay. Okay. We got
I'm
someone backstage
perplexed.
named Gary. Gary, you want to turn? Gary left, anyways. But what? Dude wasn't. No, dude was. Okay, you fought without armor, in a war. You forgot to wear armor, and then you got hit with a crossbow, and then that got infected. Then the guy that hit you with the crossbow that's infected was brought to you, and not only did you not kill him, you set him free and gave him money.
That seems like a lot of fighters that we have nowadays.
I mean, and yet the Holy Land. What the?
Wow.
Was it really that fanatic?
No, I think he was really just not all there in the head.
Yeah, he wasn't.
Like,
What the mess is this? And okay, and see, and this is what happens when you're not raised around your father. Really, I mean, as a man, you need your father because stuff like this, you can tell, dude was raised by his mother alone. Oh,
I
mother,
noticed how they said he died in his mother's
his
arm, not
arms
his
exactly.
wife's.
Right, that's
Like,
he died in his mother's arms, not his wife's. Yo, what did the wife do? Like,
now that one, she deserves the right to have a few concubines of her own.
what did the wife do to him? That's the real history I need to know now. This man went off from England all the way to Jerusalem just to fight in a meaningless war, take the long way back, get captured and imprisoned, get released, rather than go towards England, goes back to go fight, forgets to wear armor, gets hit by a crossbow, lets the person who hit who hit him, lets him go and gave him money that he necessarily doesn't really have that much of.
That was a thank
And
you. This was a suicide mission. He was willing to. But come hell or high water, he was gonna die.
it's like, I'm not going home. Like, I have to
Yes.
go back to her.
So that's why he thanked the person. He gave the person money for putting that bow through him.
Look, he must have forgotten to take the bins out. Like, imagine the trouble you're in. It's like, you know what? It kind of reminds me of that one guy in Mexico. This was in 2018, apparently. This one guy in Mexico told his wife that he was gonna go to the store and buy some milk. Turns out he actually went to Russia to watch the World Cup.
Guys.
Yeah. Hey man, I mean, now imagine if that was me, I would have just stayed in Russia because there's no way in hell I'm coming back home. I mean, with my wife, and I didn't even tell her, and I went to a whole other continent, the way how my wife would be mad, I don't know. Maybe I just want to set my life here now. Maybe, because imagine going back home.
You'd have to get a wife first for you to start looking like that.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Wait a minute. Wow. Eleanor of Aquitaine, I raised an idiot.
That's a good one.
Literally. Oh yeah, if you think Richard is bad, well, check out the next one.
And the man who'd killed him was rearrested and flayed alive.
I found that funny.
His little brother John was never meant to be king. His father had called him John Lackland because there was originally no part of the huge Angevin empire left for him. And the three problems that lurked at the core of monarchy in England now became crises. How did succession work? What was the balance between the king and the church? And what legal limits existed on royal power, especially when it came to taxes? To begin with, was he really Richard's proper successor? One of his elder brothers, Geoffrey, had died leaving a son, Arthur, and there were barons in Anjou and Maine who argued that this 13-year-old was the proper successor. They were supported by Philip, King of France. The only way to settle a succession dispute was by violence, so John went to war. His men captured the boy, and he was never seen again. It was generally believed that John drowned him,
Yeah,
which was
never
the wrong
seen
way
again.
to...
Yep. I mean, no,
Nothing suspicious there.
Nothing suspicious at all. The one that people think should be the king and is actually in good favor. He's actually backed by some powerful men, and you're the last child. So much so, your actual name is John Lackland because you lack the land.
Ouch.
Like these guys are nicknames. What's your name? Lackland. Why? Because you ain't got no land. That's crazy.
Just in case he forgot.
Yeah. And now, well, congratulations. Now you. But I want to be king. Who are you? I'm your big brother. I'm your nephew. I'm your big brother's son. You mean yeah, but no. You're okay. You're 13 years old, but I'm supposed to be king. Hey, let's go walk around the river.
Sure.
solve the problem. It guaranteed that Arthur would not be king, but it left a very nasty smell. It didn't stop the King of France from keeping the war going, and by 1205 John was driven out of most of France, including Aquitaine and even Normandy. The issue of church power also came up again. It was John's bad luck to be confronted by an exceptionally militant and aggressive Pope, Innocent III.
Him.
Innocent maintained that kings had to submit to popes. When the Archbishop of Canterbury died, Innocent announced that Stephen Langton, who happened to be English, was the new archbishop. John refused to accept the Pope's man. Rome wouldn't give ground, and neither would John. In 1209, the Vatican excommunicated the King of England and his whole kingdom. Back in England, John attempted to carry on regardless. The Pope declared John deposed, and that anyone who even spoke to him was excommunicated. According to one chronicler, John decided at this point to join the enemy. In 1213, he sent a delegation to the Emir of Morocco, offering to adopt Islam and turn England into an Islamic country in return for protection. That would have turned history upside down.
I know, right?
Is it true? The Emir, according to the story, told the envoys not to be so silly.
So, in a nutshell, guys, we have when this Pope Innocent III, when they say he's a militant, that's an understatement. That man, yeah, he's, well, is he known as one of the worst popes ever? Not really, but as far as forthcoming, that dude was as quote-unquote radical as it comes. Because now, him again, him thinking that popes, excuse me, him thinking that popes run things. It wasn't just with England. It was literally with the Holy Roman Emperor as well, because that dude tried to put his foot in everyone's business. So he was a particularly forthcoming tyrant of a pope, really. And now you had a weak-willed king like John. What's that gonna do? Because again, at the end of the day, people are going to side with the church over the king, and that's the problem. Pope Innocent knew it. John didn't. So, yeah. It's one of those cases where you realize, hey, you thought you were the dude. No, I'm the dude, because I control the church. You can't be better than the church. It was one of those cases.
In fact, John was reduced to total surrender. The Pope demanded that he submit himself as a vassal of the church, and that England should become a papal fief instead of a sovereign kingdom.
Wow.
So in 1213, Stephen Langton, the new Archbishop of Canterbury, took up his post as a representative of the new overlord of England. In that capacity, he decided to sort out the third issue, the limits of the king's power over his subjects. Barons were now virtually an organized political party. This is the seal of the Barons of London. Langton presented them with a charter issued by Henry I and suggested that they demand something along the same lines but a bit clearer. The Magna Carta. This famous document was signed in June 1215. John and Richard had both tried to meet their costs by massive increases in feudal dues and legal charges, and most of the Magna Carta is an effort to reverse these. But there are also other clauses that show that Langton and the barons thought that laws must bind the king himself as well as everyone else. There was a notion of proper kingship in England, and the Magna Carta tried to spell out what that meant. If Langton had not been an Englishman, the Magna Carta would probably have looked very different. And it was certainly incomprehensible to Pope Innocent, who saw it as a baffling and immoral limitation on the absolute power of the feudal Lord of England, who was, of course, himself. So Innocent issued a papal bull excommunicating anyone who stood by or tried to carry out Magna Carta, and Stephen Langton found himself suspended from his job and recalled to Rome. And John marched through England at the head of an army composed largely of foreign troops, crushing the barons and destroying their property. And that's why the barons went to France and got a new king of their own, Louis, the son of the King of France.
Yeah, a French dude. Yep.
And so came the second French invasion of England in 1216. It was about the same size as the invasion of 1066, and Louis landed unopposed. He was greeted with general enthusiasm and was hailed as King of England in a high mass at St. Paul's Cathedral. He set up his own government, and his army began its pursuit of John's dwindling forces. John was assembling an army to stage the great final battle, and was travelling along the seashore from Lynn to Lincolnshire. A miscalculation of the tide was all he needed. His whole baggage train was washed away, including his treasure and the crown jewels. Distraught, broken, he made his way to an abbey at Swineshead, where he was comforted with the monk's latest experiment in beer making, which seems to have brought on dysentery, fever, and death. The story of the kings and queens of England is more surprising than you might think. It's a fine drama.
So, do you you two want to stop right here for the night? Or you guys want to continue? The reason I'm bringing this up is actually because there are actually, I think, about 13 or 14 Plantagenet kings, and we are only at the third one. So, you two want to continue, or you want to stop right here, or how long do you guys want to go ahead for?
I'd like to continue.
Okay, and you?
I'll go ahead.
Awesome. All right, let's go ahead until we. Okay, let's go. Oh, let's go ahead right before, right before the War of the Roses begin. That one.
But if I do start to show signs of falling asleep.
Yeah, I got you. Say
Okay.
less. You know, if that's the case, just turn the camera off.
Okay. I'll tell my husband to turn it off for me.
Nah, you can do that. Take the initiative. Let's go ahead.
1,000 years of tales of lust and betrayal, of heroism and cruelty, of mysteries, murders, tragedies, and triumphs. But there's more than that. This episode begins with a king of England who ruled for over a year, but who simply vanished from the record. And it ends with a boy whose claim to the throne was based on fictions that became historical orthodoxy. We begin in the year 1216, in the reign of King Louis of England. Yes, King Louis, not the most famous king of England. At the request of the barons and with the enthusiastic support of the population of London, he'd come to England from France to take over the crown from John. And John, struggling to fight back, had fallen ill and died. Louis, who'd been acclaimed king at a mass in St. Paul's Cathedral, now had the throne to himself. He had no coronation, as the bishops had been excommunicated, but rulers are created in England by acclamation, not coronation, which is why the uncrowned Edward VIII was a king, and Lady Jane Grey, who did have a coronation, was not queen. And Louis got rubbed out of the list of England's monarchs because his acclamation was, with hindsight, withdrawn. That was because the barons had not expected Louis to appoint his friends from France and Flanders as his chief councillors. They'd expected to be given much more control over what went on, and then they thought, there's a better option. John had a 9-year-old son, Henry. Of course, no child had ever been king, but there's a first time for everything, and if the king was a child and one of the barons was regent, then the barons really would be running things. Of course, Louis controlled London, but the child was at Corfe Castle, and they could at least get him to the nearest abbey, Gloucester, to crown him. Of course, they didn't have the crown, but they could use his mother's gold neckband. Actually, they didn't have an archbishop available to do the coronation. Never mind, the Bishop of Winchester was available and had the keys to the treasury. It wasn't a well-attended ceremony. Not even all of John's executors could get there, but it would have to do. Naturally, little Henry III was not actually exercising the powers of king. That was the job of a baron, the regent. The chap that got the job was a 70-year-old Earl of Pembroke, William Marshal. A safe pair of hands if ever there was one. Old Faithful. Marshal had long ago been a bold young knight in the days of Henry I, the child's grandfather. He'd worked his way up the greasy pole of advancement by the simple, if very unusual, principle of loyalty to his lord and total trustworthiness. Everyone trusted him, and now the barons expected him to get rid of Louis and rule on behalf of little Henry. And Louis was roundly defeated. In the end, he agreed to go back to France and agree he'd never been King of England at all. And all the barons and bishops who'd acclaimed him as king agreed that they'd never done anything of the sort. Everyone became patriotic. For the first time since the Norman conquest, the French were being described as foreigners, looting the English. The barons all spoke French, and they had nothing in common with the villeins on their lands, but they were beginning to feel English. And William Marshal reissued Magna Carta and said that all the old laws and rights of England were exactly what Henry III wanted to uphold. William Marshal died, the grand old hero of England, in 1219, and Henry was given a proper coronation at Westminster the following year. As Henry grew up, the barons and bishops had no intention of letting him get away from them. He learned to do as he was told, and that pretty much defined him as a king.
There you go. And that's how you do it. That is exactly how you do it. That's why one of the worst things that can happen is to have a baby king, because, well, raise him up to do as he's told. And this is why I believe Henry III, if you look at the list of one of the worst kings of England, I think Henry III is towards the bottom. I think he's not worse than John or Richard III, but Henry is down there. Well, not because he's necessarily a bad king, but because he was a weak king, which is kind of, well, that kind of means he's also a bad king as well. So
Talk about grooming.
What the baron?
oh yeah, bro. That's what they do. At that time, man, who cares about love? Who cares about the country? No, it's about me. Especially by the priests.
Yeah.
Barons and the bishops hadn't thought about was that one day he would be listening not to them, but to his wife. Perhaps one of them should have married him. Instead, in 1236, he married Eleanor, a younger daughter of the Count of Provence. He was 29, she was about 19, and she wrapped him round her finger. She arrived with her uncle, who immediately started running the king's life and carted huge amounts of treasure off to his homeland. Then she got another uncle installed as Archbishop of Canterbury. Her physician became the Bishop of Durham, and large sums of money supposedly going to her mother were actually funding the wars of her brother-in-law, the Duke of Anjou. She was inevitably staggeringly unpopular. And however little money the king had, he always seemed able to support her relatives abroad, paying for their courts and their armies. In 1263, the population of London rose in rebellion. Their targets were Flemish bankers, Jewish financiers, and Queen Eleanor. She was in the Tower of London, London's royal palace, and got away from the Watergate to slip down the Thames to Windsor. As her boat approached London Bridge, she was pelted with missiles by a crowd shouting, "Drown the witch!" She managed to get back to the safety of the Tower. The kingdom had become ungovernable, at least by this king.
People just hated Eleanor, huh?
This was not the same country it had been in 1066. Towns had grown, trade had grown, London had grown. With the barons losing influence and Londoners angry, the crown itself was in danger. England was on the edge of revolution. Enter the revolutionary, a Frenchman on the make, the charming, clever younger son of a powerful and ruthless Norman lord, a chancer with style, Simon de Montfort. France was now ruled by King Louis's widow on behalf of their young son. She was a shrewd woman who decided that young Simon was dangerous stuff and forced him to escape abroad. He'd come to England in 1231, when he was about 23, intending to recover land his family had lost years ago. And he was really good at it. He became the best of friends with the impressionable Henry in no time, and Henry's sister fell for him. In 1238 they were married, and he was given back those lost family lands. He was Earl of Leicester. The English were suspicious of foreigners, so Simon completely converted into an Englishman. In 1239, Henry and Eleanor had a son. Simon sponsored the baptism. They chose the name Edward, after the great Anglo-Saxon king Edward the Confessor. This French royal family had adopted English patriotism.
Yep.
But as the political crisis deepened, Simon became increasingly committed to the total reform of government. Eventually, the crisis became a full-blooded civil war, And by the time the war ended in 1264, Henry and his son Edward were Simon's prisoners, and he took over the country. Simon now set about inventing an entirely new form of government, one which was based on the deeply rooted English principle of consent. In 1265, he summoned a meeting of the country, a parliament, at Westminster, to endorse his government. He summoned not only barons and bishops, but also 2 knights from each shire, and, most extraordinary, representatives from all the boroughs, the towns.
He said he was acting in the king's name, but the king didn't have much to do with what was going on. In fact, Simon had established what we might see as a modern state. There was a written constitution, a symbolic king, a powerful leading minister, and there was a parliament with representatives of the church, the countryside, represented by great landowners and gentry, and of towns. We might see it like that. They didn't. To most people at the time, this was clearly the tyranny of Simon de Montfort. By now, Prince Edward was a grown man, 25 years old, and it was his job to overthrow this tyranny and restore the crown. First, of course, he had to escape imprisonment at Hereford Castle. The prince was allowed to exercise his horse on the common, so he wore out his guards' horses, racing with them, and then jumped onto a fresh horse that had been brought for the purpose and disappeared into the distance. What followed is known
Excuse me?
I said smart.
Mm.
as the Battle of Evesham, at the end of which Simon de Montfort was chopped up into pieces. Henry was back on his throne, but it was Edward who was now running the country. This tall, muscular warrior, he was called Longshanks, had the military skill to crush the remaining rebels and the good sense not to punish them afterwards. He understood how to make peace and accepted the proposition that the king must respect legal limits on his power and consult with the nation. He also habitually spoke English, the first royal to do so since 1066. Parliament made him the steward of England. De Montfort's revolution had left its mark. The old king died in 1272, having reigned for 56 years. Edward's main interest in life was chivalry and warfare. His natural costume was armor. It had been since he was a child. When Henry died, Edward was out of the country on crusade. He came home to be crowned with his queen, yet another Eleanor, in 1273. The daughter of the King of Castile, she'd already borne Edward 6 children. They would have 10 more.
10, 16. And that was just with one woman. I mean, like, I'm pretty sure he had another one. I think
Also,
there was like 19.
there were a lot of Eleanors running around at the time.
Yeah.
That's a common name you hear.
Yeah. So let's just say there's, I'm not even gonna say that. I'm not gonna bring that up. No. So, oh yeah. By the way, sis, you've seen Mel Gibson's Braveheart, right?
Yes.
I would never watch that movie ever again.
Why not?
Okay, so what was and this is, I know, even if the documentary mentions it, I don't care. What was the name of the Braveheart? What was his name?
Don't ask me that now. I can't remember. Don't do that.
Allegedly, his name was William Wallace. Right? And you know how in the movie there was this one guy that Mel Gibson was William Wallace. There was this one guy that Mel Gibson was speaking to who was the head of the stuff. His name was Robert the Bruce. You remember that scene?
Yeah, if it looks like my face is like coming forward
And
to the
no
camera,
worries.
it's
You're
because
fine.
I can't really hear.
You can you hear me now?
Huh?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, no, it's not you. I'm using my husband's phone, and it's an Android.
Androids are awesome. What are you talking about?
So that should explain everything.
Androids are awesome. But anyways, so
but, but yes,
apparently,
yes, I remember. I remember. Yeah.
yeah, he's he's actually Braveheart.
Oh, they flipped it.
They flipped it.
Okay.
I was when I found that out, I was so mad. I said, "Wait a minute, Robert the Bruce is Braveheart, not William Wallace."
But you need Mel Gibson, man. It
What
wouldn't
the
it
heck
wouldn't
is?
be right if his name was Robert, like Bob.
But William, Bill,
But Bob,
Bill, is that any better?
Bob though.
Yeah, androids are awesome. Androids are awesome.
Okay, I knew I was gonna get some hate. It's okay. All right, I'll take it.
Yeah. Look at that. He said Billy.
It's fine.
He said Billy. Exactly. Team
Billy.
Android.
Somebody said Billy. That's
Team
funny.
Billy. Let's go ahead and continue. I'll be right back after we use the bathroom, but it's gonna
Bobby.
be
I'll counter that with Bobby.
Anyways.
England now had something like a settled system of government. Edward confirmed the existing charters, including Magna Carta, and was able to leave the business of government and justice to his council and judges. His main concern was how to gather the money to conduct his military interests without provoking more rebellions. In 1190, the monks of Glastonbury had found graves which were believed to be those of King Arthur and Queen Guinevere. The bones had been placed in the Lady Chapel. Now, 88 years later, King Edward carried the bones of Arthur and Queen Eleanor those of Guinevere. They put the legendary remains in a magnificent tomb in the main church. Edward presented himself as a new Arthur. All this was part of a wider campaign to give his kingship the power of myth, and so unite the country behind him. This unity was going to be needed when he claimed supremacy over all Wales. It worked. When the Welsh princes rejected his claim, he was able to raise the money to make an enormous military effort. He became the first English king to totally conquer this mountainous territory. One of its princes, Llewellyn, was killed in battle. His head was mounted on the Tower of London. The other, David, was put on trial for treason before Parliament and sentenced to be drawn, hanged, beheaded, and quartered. This was a savagery previously unknown in English law. The English system of shires and hundreds was now extended to cover all Wales, and the conquest was emphasized by huge state-of-the-art royal castles like this one at Carnarvon. Edward's war chest was based on a new source of royal finance. In 1275, Parliament granted him the right to charge customs duties on wool. See how useful it was having a parliament with merchants to agree to taxes. Nevertheless, popular rhymes suggested trouble was brewing. The king he wants to get our gold, the queen would like our lands to hold. His war chest had come from Jewish moneylenders, but now they had no more to give. Never mind, the Jews could serve another purpose. Italian bankers would provide advances on the customs duties and collect the taxes themselves, and Edward could unite the country behind him in persecuting the Jews. 650 years later, the Third Reich would adopt his entire program. First, Edward decreed that they were a threat to the country. Their movements and activities were restricted. To identify them easily, all Jews were obliged to wear a yellow patch in the shape of a star.
Does that sound familiar?
Yeah.
They just can't win. What's up with this Star Davis stuff, man? Like, I mean, after a while, I mean, like, you just gotta ask yourself, hey guys, what do we keep doing wrong?
That
just
takes
saying.
a level of introspection that not too many of them had at that time.
Oh, yeah, that time. Okay.
I'm trying to be generous and you leave.
Because you know they're watching you.
Next, he arrested all the heads of Jewish households. Over 300 were taken to the Tower of London and executed, while others were murdered in their homes. Finally, in 1290, the king banished all Jews from the country. By now, the armored overlord was a national hero. When his wife Queen Eleanor died in the same year, worn out by childbirths, his own grief was turned into a major display of national mourning. Her body was ceremonially carried from Lincoln to Westminster, and a memorial cross erected at every one of the 12 resting places, including here at Charing in London. Charing Cross. It was time to enlarge the kingdom again. In
That sounds
1296, he
familiar.
led an army.
Pardon me?
I said that sounds familiar. Something just as similar happened in India a few centuries later.
What
Oh,
happened?
That's how the Taj Mahal came into being.
Really?
wow.
Oh.
A similar story. A queen died in childbirth. Her husband, the emperor, was grief-stricken, and he built her a monument.
Oh yeah,
In his honor.
yeah.
Oh,
You're
okay. Yeah. This is the common theme here. Hey.
to enforce
history
his
does
claim
repeat
to Scotland.
itself.
Aha. Especially when you don't know it.
Yeah,
If you don't know it, you're
it
gonna
does.
repeat it. I mean, okay. Now, imagine if you're today, you're watching this documentary in England, and you just learn about the Holocaust a couple of days before that, and you're just like, wait a minute. You know what? I actually told a friend of mine. I said, anything from like the 9th century on, 9th 10th century on, anything and almost everything that happens in this world, I kid you not, England has something to do with it. It's always either they had something to do with it, or they're related to it, or they were inspired by it, or they did something similar. Like something happened that involves England. Just know that.
It's because of the weather.
Or their cousins did it.
Or they started it.
Yeah, they're just miserable. Can you imagine it when it rains all the time? It's dark, it's cold.
They don't.
Notice how they always seem to want to be outside of England.
I mean, Richard. Yeah, maybe that's what you think. Richard ran away for the food.
And just the depressingness of England, the island.
I mean, they did. Imagine going to Africa, the African continent, going to the Asian continent, the spice capital, India, and not knowing how to use spices. Going to African continent and still not knowing how to use spices. So yeah.
Yeah, I will say more older recipes do use a lot of spices, and they show up in things you wouldn't expect.
Like what?
Like ravioli. They would use sugar. They would use spices like we use salt.
Oh,
Ravioli. Huh.
sugar.
Yeah,
Sugar. Yeah.
sugar in ravioli. I've seen a historical recipe.
Wow.
Huh.
Huh.
No wonder I don't like ravioli.
That is not why you don't like ravioli.
Actually, that's part of it.
Yeah, probably not.
That's part of the reason why I don't like ravioli.
They don't put sugar in ravioli now.
Yeah, but
No,
they don't.
they don't.
They don't really
Yeah,
put much of anything in it these days.
I was calling out my my brother's premise that that's the reason why he didn't like ravioli.
Oh no, the reason. No, for one, the whole sugar thing kind of just turns me away from it, and two, Part of the reason why I don't like ravioli also is because there's a lack of flavor in there. Literally, like it's not spicy. It's the taste itself. I don't. Maybe it's just the ravioli that I've been eating, but there is no taste. I mean, there's no spices. There's no flavor. I mean, it's just.
Wait, they
there.
put sugar in pizza in New York?
New York, Chicago, yeah.
They put sugar?
You'd be surprised at what has sugar.
Wait, but no, that's cheating then. So it's
Yeah,
like,
a
how
lot
can
of
they say
stuff
it's
has
extra?
sugar in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's cheating.
Wow, I didn't know we were playing fair. Yeah,
Oh,
plus it's
did you
cheating.
know a lot of Jamaican food have brown sugar in it?
Why does that not surprise me? Why does that not surprise me?
I saw my husband cooking it. My husband is Jamaican. He was making some food and he put some brown sugar. I'm like, you put sugar in curry?
Okay,
I don't understand.
you know what, sister? Should sugar go in curry?
That's what I'm saying. And he's like, this is how they make it. I'm like,
Yes, you find it in a lot of Southeast Asian curries.
really?
Ew, check out the comments, Sister Nia.
Yeah.
They're trying to kill us. Oh, by the way, Sister Nia, she's from Senegal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's like literally poisonous.
All right.
Wait, Asian meals too.
Hey, that explains the energy. Ooh, that explains the Jamaicans. So much energy and then they burn out.
Honestly, you hit the nail on the head when you said burnout. I'm just gonna
That's joking.
Oh yes, yeah. Oh yeah, Sister Nia. This is my older sister. Yes. You see the resemblance? Please, no. Please, no.
We do not look alike. Please don't
No.
say that.
Please,
I'm just
please.
better.
Okay, I will. Okay, she needs to go. Okay, sister. Don't make her head bigger. Okay.
I'll never reach you. It's okay. You pick up all
Okay,
the space.
I know how to carry it. Okay.
Your neck is struggling. That's why you can never keep your head on straight.
And that's why I do.
You gotta go
makeups.
cricket. It's okay, you got some strong neck over there. Like you
I
can
would-
lift so much
honestly-
stuff with your neck. It's like
Honestly, you know what? I'm not even gonna go there. All right, let's go and continue. Yeah. This is my sister. Yeah. Whatever.
Edinburgh was seized, and the King of Scotland, stripped of his crown, was imprisoned in the Tower of London. Scottish kings were crowned enthroned on the Stone of Scone, or Stone of Destiny. Edward had it moved to London and put in the coronation chair in Westminster Abbey.
Diabolical.
Edward
man.
appointed a trio of Englishmen to run the country. Actually, his rule in Scotland was not noticeably harsh or unjust, but that was beside the point. His own conjuring of the demon of nationalism was turning against him. Ordinary Scots began to discover a feeling of national identity. A popular Scottish resistance movement grew, led by William Wallace, better known nowadays, outside Scotland at least, as Braveheart. Most
wasn't
of Scotland
Braveheart!
had broken free before he was defeated. And then in 1306 rebellion began again, and Robert the Bruce was crowned King of Scotland. By now, Edward, the Hammer of the Scots, was old and sick. He tried to lead an army back into Scotland, but it became obvious he'd never get there. A few miles north of Carlisle, on his deathbed, he gave instructions to his 23-year-old heir, Edward, Prince of Wales.
100 knights were to crusade, carrying his heart. The army should carry his bones to defeat Scotland, and the prince was not to have anything further to do with his very, very close friend, Piers Gaveston. The king was dead. Edward II was ready to party.
Edward was physically tall
Oh,
and
yeah.
muscular, but his
yeah.
similarity to his father ended there.
Things about to
He
get
had
lit.
no interest in being a warlord. His father had taken him on campaign,
But the prince travelled with a pet lion and a troupe of Genoese fiddlers. Edward I had tried to change his character by assigning him a charismatic squire who was good at tournaments. This had backfired spectacularly.
Uh-oh.
Edward and Piers Gaveston had fallen in love.
Yeah.
And Nia, yes, just like the movie, she was asking about Braveheart. Just like the movie, but apparently, Mel Gibson's character, William, was not the actual Braveheart.
In history, it was actually the king, Robert the Bruce. He was known as Braveheart. So the movie tricked us all, and I'm very mad about it. I'm very mad.
I don't blame you.
You know what? I get it. If you're the father, like, okay, I am a cutthroat. I'm very war driven. I take my son with me so that he can be a man. I give him a squire. I give him somebody who, and then he does this.
Hey, I mean,
No.
he needed to learn how to be a man. What better way than to literally show him?
Oh my! Let's just continue. Let's just. The funny thing is, so far it seems like anybody who's the second is gay. Because earlier we talked about William the Second, William Rufus, gay. Edward the First, Edward the Second, gay. Who's next? Wait a minute. I think there's one more.
It's not gay. It's sexually ambiguous.
Okay, Miss Corporate. Like, what the heck, man? What do you work for, HR? Like,
it's yeah.
Okay, and I'm not a janitor. I'm a sanitation engineer.
Absolutely,
Okay.
as you should be.
I was going to continue.
Yes.
Gaveston was banished, but obviously he was now coming back. Gaveston was an elegant, charming, artistic man who loved showing off his power over Edward and could still easily beat more macho men in tournaments. This was a recipe for a short life. Before his coronation, Edward married Isabella, the sister of the King of France. Then Gaveston was seen wearing Isabella's wedding jewelry.
Okay, can we just agree that Gaveston had no chill? This man was all about power moves. This man wanted to be known and said, "Hey, you're marrying him, but he belongs to me."
As long as that's clear.
You reckless. I mean, and they said he can also fight. So any man who wants to do something about it, do something about it. What's up?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're the king, can you imagine what the king is thinking at this time? Anyways.
Maybe he was afraid of him too.
Well, he did say Gaveston likes to prove his power over Edward. So
Exactly.
I think we all know what that means.
At the coronation, he showed up carrying the crown, wearing royal purple and pearls. Some of the barons wanted to kill him on the spot. Eventually, of course, they did kill him. Here,
Well, if I was related to her, I'd arrange a hunting trip.
It just said they just killed him. Yeah, did you catch how he said it? They wanted to kill him on the spot. Eventually, they did kill him though. Like, nah, he had to go. Dude was being reckless with it. Showing up at the coronation wearing the crown, like he was being way too reckless with it. Just listen to the way how he said eventually they did kill him.
And pearls. Some of the barons wanted to kill him on the spot. Eventually, of course, they did kill him. Here at Plateau Hill in Warwickshire, having chased the king.
He had it coming.
He really did. Like, he had to go. I'm sorry.
It was
dude.
the eventually, of course, part.
So eventually, of course, they did kill him. Like it had to happen, right? Like these guys just say, you know what? I don't care. Let's just do it in broad daylight. So, what was this? Oh, here we go. Yep, it's about to get worse.
And peers round the country. And then Robert Bruce, renegade King of Scotland, set about completing his War of Independence. He captured Edinburgh and besieged the last English stronghold, Stirling. In 1314, Edward II set out to relieve the city. The Battle of Bannockburn, just outside the castle, was a total disaster for the English. Edward's troubles were made worse by the fact that the climate, which had been benign for about 100 years, took a dramatic and long-term turn for the worse in 1315. As harvests failed and cattle died, the barons said that his extravagance and lack of direction was intolerable, so the grown-ups took over. The Earl of Lancaster, head of the council, was now acting as king, keeping...
You know what? I like the host.
Edward on a daily allowance of £10. But he still had friends. He turned to Hugh Despenser and his son. Despenser was the only nobleman who had supported Gaveston. Eventually, they managed to help him break free of the power of Leicester and the other great nobles. But no one had a solution to the unending run of bad harvests, and the apparent enthusiasm of the Despensers to enrich themselves made Edward's rule deeply unpopular, especially with his Queen Isabella. In 1325, she got away to France and refused to come home unless the Despensers were thrown out. Worse, she'd fallen passionately in love with an ally of Leicester's who was hiding out in France, Roger Mortimer. Isabella and Mortimer gathered an army and invaded England in September 1326. As homophobia turned into mob rule, Isabella and Mortimer were joyously welcomed to London. In a few months, it was all over. The elder Despenser, almost 90 years old, was hanged without being given time to take off his armor. The younger had his genitals cut off, and he was disemboweled. The object was for Isabella and Mortimer to rule in the name of her 14-year-old son. But the boy refused to accept the crown without his father's consent. So Edward, dressed in black, was deposed in a solemn ceremony. The steward of his household broke his staff of office. He broke down and cried.
Of course he did.
He was eventually moved to Berkeley Castle, where he was encouraged to die as soon as possible. He was denied sufficient food and clothing.
You know what?
Encouraged.
I like this
to
corporate
die
talk.
as soon as
Encouraged.
possible.
Yeah.
Encouraged. It would.
Can you imagine?
It would be,
Can you imagine the
it would
motivation?
be in your favor to die tomorrow.
Can you imagine the guard that was there that was supposed to do it? It's like, dude, come on now. I got somewhere to go. Can we just make this quick? Like,
Wow. Encouraged to die.
you are encouraged to die. You know. Can you imagine that? Like, it'll be a benefit when you die.
But see, that's the thing. Those are triggering words.
But I'm guessing there might have been some superstition about, regicide and stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm not gonna kill you. I'm just gonna put you in somewhere where you can kill yourself. So the guilt is off of me.
And
Yeah.
we'll conveniently forget to feed you.
Oh yeah.
So wait a minute. Ain't this supposed to feed? Oh yeah, this is a guy named Edward. Edward, who's that? The king. We had a king.
He was prevented from sleeping, he was crowned with a crown of hay, and shaved with ditch water.
Oh my god. Okay, now
Ooh,
That
okay.
was torture.
yeah, that's torture.
That went overboard.
But that escalated quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, when they said he was encouraged, they meant that. They said, you know what, the next time you close your eyes, you're not gonna open them, so you better keep them
I
open.
bet you Dick Cheney envied those practices. Sorry. That was a dig. I'm working on it.
No, it's cool. It's cool. It's cool. If only, right? But for real, like they didn't allow him to sleep. Oh no!
You can only last so long.
No.
Oh no, they wanted him to die in the worst way.
They wanted him
After
to die.
5 days of no sleep, like you are crazy.
I mean, look. Does this look like a face of someone who knows what he's gonna be doing? Like,
Like, oh my god.
oh no. Okay, I kind of do feel sorry for him now. I believe.
Me too.
Now I see where the encouraging part. With all those torture, I would see how he would take his own life.
It's like, and the funny thing is, it could be worse too, because at least they're feeding him. Can you imagine if they don't feed him?
They weren't.
They weren't.
Oh yeah, they weren't.
They were starving him and
Starving him, he can't sleep. Did they give him water at least?
I don't know.
First of all, would you
I
want
can't
that water,
remember that.
especially back then? It's not clean.
Dang, dysentery. God dang it. Wow. Yeah, I feel sorry for him. I do. Okay, you know what? I take back almost half the things I said about you.
Isabella, generally known as the she-wolf
Yep.
of France, reproved the guards for their mild treatment. Popular
Mild?
homophobia had
That was mild.
She saw all of that and said, "You guys can do better." Like, what?
Yeah, this was coming, so that compared to that is mild.
I guess it was mild.
She really punished him for not being attracted to her.
I mean, they called her the she-wolf of France. Yeah, she wasn't kidding.
allowed Isabella and her lover Mortimer to brutally and illegally depose Edward II. That didn't make them heroes for long. Edward III, in whose name they ruled, was their prisoner. But in 1320, when he was 18, he broke free. They were staying in Nottingham, and he put together a plot to lead a band of armed men into the castle through an underground passage. They seized Mortimer and Isabella. Mortimer was hanged. Isabella shut away in Castle Rising in Norfolk. And Mortimer was hanged. Isabella shut away in Castle Rising in Norfolk.
No. Where's the equality? Where's the equality here? You're gonna hang this guy, but she gets to live the rest of her life. Oh, she's quartered. No, she's getting food. I hope she's getting sleep. I don't hope. Like, where's the equality?
She should get the same treatment as Edward II got.
I agree.
No, she wouldn't, because she's his mom. There's no way he's going to do that to her.
But she
and politically look good.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Well, see what happens in the dungeons.
You know what? How about you just encourage her? How about that?
Exactly. What happens in the dungeons stays in the dungeons.
I mean, no one has to know.
Exactly. I'm just joking.
Okay.
Not
Okay.
really.
I don't like that whisper you just did. I mean, you know what? I want to see you as a queen of your own country. I want to see what you're gonna do in the 5 years.
No. I can't.
See if your people don't revolt.
I can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I am better contained.
Yeah. Okay.
And England had a king again. Law and proper government would be resumed under a handsome young man, properly entitled to the throne, who also happened to be a fine chivalrous knight who spoke English, French, and German, and who was already married with a baby son. What could be better than that. Ooh, how about a good war? Edward decided on the most extraordinary and...
What was that? Okay, this host is starting to get a little uppity to me. Like,
Hey, he's trying to get his Oscar or Emmy.
I'm enjoying it.
but the thing is, I don't remember
trying
him.
to make history more entertaining.
I don't remember him being that funny. That's the thing. He's like, okay, how about a good war? Like, what?
You got everything. Why don't you put it all at risk? It's like, you got a child, you got a wife, and you're handsome and young. Why don't you put that all at risk by
Literally,
going to war?
like, I have a wife. I have a beautiful wife at home. I have kids at home. Wait a minute. It seems like there's a pattern here with people who have beautiful wives and let me go to war. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Were the women really that ugly? Okay.
Hey, okay.
I
This
said
was
they're
before
women.
they came up with perfumes.
That's true. Wait a minute. No, it
No,
wasn't.
they had a good
Yeah.
amount of perfumes.
They have perfumes elsewhere. It's not there.
Yeah, this was during the Crusades, so they brought back a lot of perfumes.
Were they using it? I don't know, but they brought it back.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
this was before they were.
Yeah, they had to use it because medically they believed in the humus theory, and according to that, good smells are healthier. So they had to use stuff like that.
Besides, that was a substitute for taking a shower back then. So hey.
Well, all that
Yeah.
heavy clothing.
significant military campaign since the Norman conquest. He announced that by the laws of inheritance, he was the rightful successor to the throne of France. It was rubbish. It wasn't. But he certainly meant to be. And in 1337, he began preparing his invasion. Actually, there were two genuine reasons for this, and neither had anything to do with the law of succession. One was that the French were supporting the Scots, and so long as that continued, the King of England would never be master of Scotland. And northern England would be constantly threatened by raiders, looters, and Scottish armies. The other was that England was now a busy commercial country selling wool to Flemish weavers. In 1336, Philip of France decided to take control of this trade. He arrested all English merchants in Flanders and took away the privileges of the Flemish towns and the craft guilds. English merchants pointed out that they'd lost their income. The king had lost his customs duties. The kingdom had lost its foreign trade. The coast on the far side of the Channel was vital to English security and prosperity. Whatever the cost, it must be kept open. The same imperative would force Britain to war against Napoleon, against the Kaiser, against Hitler. Edward was the first to have to face it. His solution was to claim France and break it. This little campaign is known to history as the 100 Years' War. But this war...
This guy is getting on my last nerves. He said this little campaign is known as the 100-Year War. I don't remember him being that funny. Like, how was he just dropping these things and then he's pretending as if he's just dropping it here as if that was nothing. Like, oh, this little campaign is for the 100
It's just
years.
like saying advancing to the rear. Like, they
Not a
didn't
retreat.
they just advanced to the rear.
I did not retreat. I just advanced to the rear. That's it.
Yep. You're just saying
Or
it like
actually-
that, like just mundane.
changed the nature of the king's job, because it required a new kind of army. Ever since William the Conqueror, the idea had been that in exchange for their landholdings, lords and knights were supposed to turn up in arms and fight for the king when they were needed.
But this didn't work very well for a war overseas. Firstly, a knight's service was only meant to be for 40 days at a time. That doesn't work with a 100 Years' War.
Secondly, many knights felt that they shouldn't be obliged to go overseas at all, and they were probably right. And thirdly, they weren't necessarily fighting men anymore. So Edward needed to have a professional army. Knights who didn't want to serve didn't have to. They could pay a tax called scutage that would allow Edward to hire professionals. Mercenaries were quick to see the opportunity for plunder and ransom.
Aren't knights supposed to be brave?
Says who?
I'm asking.
First of all, knights are supposed to breathe, and they can't breathe in that freaking whatever they're wearing. That's one. Two, who says I gotta be brave? Nah, it's for the money. I ain't gotta be brave for nothing. You know what? All this whole knights, it's all that King Arthur crap, man. Oh, this knight in the Knights of the Round Table. Oh, this brave knight, the knight in shining armor. No, I need to breathe. No, I'm good. Nah. This whole stigma of knights being brave, that's gone. That was never there. Nope.
Just like chivalry, huh?
Oh, you want to go there?
Yeah, I mean they go hand in hand, you know, like chivalry, knights.
You want to go there?
It's just gone. Disappeared. I mean, no, it's not gone. It just advanced to the.
It just advanced to the rear. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Dude was adamant too. We did not retreat.
Yeah.
All right. This is about anything you want to say before we continue?
No, other than knights wanted that position for prestige more than anything.
Yeah. I mean,
chivalry had nothing to do with it.
Nothing to do with it. We don't care. No. It's all about prestige. It's all about
influence,
making us matter. Even to this day, you think most people who join the military, they do it because they want to go to work. Half of them don't even think about it. They say, "Oh my God, we have to fight." But what do they like to do? They like to go outside and walk around in that uniform because they know why.
Hey. Now I have a duty, and I feel like I have a responsibility to stand up and stick up because my husband just happens to be in the military.
Ask him why he joined. Ask him why he joined.
He is a very honorable and noble man. You might even say he's a knight.
Ask him why he joined it. I like how you.
I know why he joined. He has a passion for this country and for justice.
That's not why he joined.
Be quiet.
Anyways, let's go ahead. Prestige. It's all prestige. I mean, you want to ask me why I joined? I can tell you real quick why I joined. Prestige. That easy.
Let's go on. My husband joined for the right reasons.
Allegedly. So you think, huh?
And free from the need to pander to knightly good manners on the battlefield, Edward hired thousands of effective, deadly archers from the lower classes. Instead of being a feudal warlord, the king was now a professional commander. He invaded Normandy in 1346, and his professionals destroyed the old-fashioned feudal knights of France at Crécy, opening up that vital coast. Calais held out, and when it eventually surrendered, Edward announced that it must be punished. The city keys must be handed over by 6 leading burghers, barefoot, with nooses round their necks, to be hanged. When they arrived, the Queen publicly fell on her knees and pleaded for the burghers' lives, which of course Edward granted. This splendid pantomime was part of the theatre of royalty, which Edward was now developing to a magnificent art. The life of the king was being turned into a public performance. His court was the home of chivalry, and his lords and knights were given parts in the drama. It was a brilliant device for binding together war, taxation, and loyalty. The Queen was as important in this as the king. She led the ladies of the court, the judges of chivalric behavior, and she was the source of mercy, tempering her husband's justice.
I thought they were gonna say she was fighting real quick, but then I thought, nah, don't. You know what? Did you guys notice how these men were fighting, and then the next thing you saw was the wife, like in the background, just watching and smiling?
As it should be.
I'm sorry. It's just I know. It's just when I look at it, she's just over here in the back, just like, yeah, good.
She gets the winner.
That's the man's wife, man.
She gets the winner.
What happened to Chivalry?
If he's dead, what good of it? What good is he to her? I should stop talking like that. My husband is listening.
No, keep talking. You're doing great.
This was a religious image. People were encouraged to show devotion to the Virgin Mary, the Queen of Heaven, who would intercede and offer protection against divine judgment. Intercession was desperately needed by people who believed that God punished them with death. Death arrived at Weymouth in June 1348.
Oh, yeah, this one.
Black Death. In less than a year, the whole country was stricken. No one could have understood what was happening. Once a person was infected, large, foul-smelling swellings developed in the groin, neck, and armpit. Death followed within 2 or 3 days. The disease killed more than a third of the population, and by 1350, the population of England was half that of 1315. In the midst of the dying, the theatre of royalty grew grander. Edward created the Order of the Garter, where 2 tournament teams played out an Arthurian drama based on St. George's Chapel at Windsor. The castle was rebuilt for the show. With the nobility bound to him by chivalric dreams, and the shires and towns granting funds for the war in Parliament, the French war could still go on. Another decisive victory at Poitiers in 1356 brought France to the point of disintegration. But by now, the war couldn't be ended. The nobility and troops saw endless vistas of plunder, while the king's only chance of income came not from his withered population, but from rich ransoms. This war would last 100 years. By the time Edward died in 1377, 65 years old, the townsmen and peasants of England were sick of the whole thing. The king's oldest son, Edward the Black Prince, had been the flower of chivalry and hugely popular, but he died a year before the king.
Okay, so, sis, you know how the whole stuff starts in Game of Thrones, right? This is what inspired Game of Thrones. Everything that's gonna happen from now on is gonna be what inspired Game of Thrones. Okay, it's called the.
I actually prefer this over Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, no, this one is much more. This one is much more petty. This one is much more petty than Game of Thrones. It is much more petty. Like
wait. So you've seen Game of Thrones. Who is your favorite character?
Oh no.
I haven't seen Game of Thrones, but I've read about it and I wasn't interested.
Okay.
All I thought was, I'll watch a documentary about the wars.
And this is why she's my favorite. She's my favorite. Friday night.
And who's your favorite character, Ali?
My favorite character in Game of Thrones. So there's 2 of them: A Song of Ice and Fire, then there's Game of Thrones. My favorite character is Robb Stark in Game of Thrones, and
what happened to him?
don't worry about it. So
he died.
No, he didn't die. He just
He got killed.
He just advanced to the next realm. Okay.
He was promoted to a ghost.
He was promoted to a. He was crowned Lord of the Dead. So yeah, my favorite character is Rob. But in the book, actually, my favorite character in the book, strangely, I'm starting to like. Well, he died, but whatever. Everybody dies. I'm starting to like a little bit Stannis. He's weird, but anyways.
Stannis Baratheon?
In the book, he's better.
Huh. Okay.
Like, yeah, a lot of stuff in A Song of Ice and Fire. I mean, you have the target, the a feast of crows. Then you have the book where you go to the Targaryen family lineage is the one where it says fire and blood. That one is talking about the Targaryens, and my favorite Targaryen actually is Aegon the Unworthy. That dude started a whole lot of stuff for no reason, and I loved it. The pettiness this man had was beyond masterclass. He had no business doing what he did. On his deathbed, he just decided, okay, so Aegon the Unworthy on his deathbed legitimized all of his illegitimate children. And the problem is, his actual.
I don't want to spoil things in this documentary, but that sounds
exactly
really familiar.
Exactly. So Aegon the Unworthy legitimized all of his illegitimate children. The problem is his actual son, his blood son with his wife, is not the oldest son. He's younger. He has another son who's an illegitimate children that's older than the prince. So now who's the king? Because he's legitimized. Loved it. So the book is more filthy. It's more disgusting and more petty, and I like it. So yeah. So again, this is gonna be called the War of the Roses, and you'll find out why.
Okay.
Thing. The king's oldest son, Edward the Black Prince, had been the flower of chivalry and hugely popular, but he died a year before the king. The successor to the throne was the Black Prince's 10-year-old son, Richard. Real power, though, lay with Richard's uncle, John of Gaunt.
Yep.
The war had by now turned against England. The French were ravaging the English coast. The shrunken working population demanded proper wages. They had no interest in performing feudal duties on the land, while desperate landowners needed more than ever to enforce them. Gaunt's government needed money and tried to raise it from a poll tax, not understanding that the population was far smaller than before. When they failed to raise the money they'd expected, they tried again. And England erupted. Lords, nobles, bishops, get rid of them all. Who needs them? When Adam delved and Eve span, who was then the gentleman? The so-called Peasants' Revolt of 1381 was actually an uprising of the respectable people of towns and villages across England. Its aim, at least for the rebels that captured London, was an end to lordship in church and state. Just one archbishop and a king. Specifically not, they added, a king called John. They detested John of Gaunt, who went into hiding.
Okay, it says, this is what I mean by pettiness. Just because his name was John, they said no. They literally said,
Sounds about right to me.
because your name, you're a good person, but because your name is John, no.
No one could name their kids Hitler.
Wow.
I'm just saying. And I bet you maybe a couple of years from now, they'll say no one can name their kids Donald. I'm joking. I'm joking.
You're not really, you're not.
I don't think they changed their names when they ascended the throne at that time.
They didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying.
The level of pettiness, though, like, oh yeah, you're a good guy, but about 100 years ago, there's this one guy named John, and no, it's like, what? But no, honey, no.
Well, he got the last laugh.
I don't know if he got the last laugh, but somebody got the last laugh in his family.
Well, if you think about the monarchy today, he got the last laugh.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, at the end, yeah, because it was all on the father's side. The blood went on the father. Got it. Yeah, I get it.
The dramatic moment, of course, was the meeting of Richard and the rebels at Smithfield on the 14th of June. The rebel leader, Wat Tyler, was talking to the king when the mayor of London cut him down. The rebels immediately drew their bows, and the king, now 14 years old, rode forward to calm them.
I will be your captain. Come with me into the fields, and you shall have all you ask.
And they dispersed as he told them. It was an astonishing lesson in the mysterious power of kingship. The rebels should never have trusted him, of course. Once the danger was past, the ringleaders were hunted down and killed. Villains ye are, and villains ye shall remain. Years later, when Richard would need popular support, he would find he had none. But Richard had been given a dramatic vision of himself.
Looks like a guy that has to go to work.
And he was 14.
You remember that painting of I forget who it was, but it was like blonde hair, like a farm area.
Oh, yeah, that one, yeah. And then
Didn't it look like that?
Yeah. And then she's with her. I think she's with her grandfather, and they're holding like a pitchfork.
Yeah.
I can see it. Dude just looks sad. Dude, get me out of here, please.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's how I look when I gotta go to work. Seriously.
He looks like an experiment gone wrong.
Stop it.
Like, no, weren't they like into like this ancestral stuff?
What? I thought. Well, England. Was that when it started?
What?
Like marrying each other.
The incest kind of thing.
From like
keeping it
the
within
same family,
No,
even though it was different
that's
countries.
been going on for centuries. So
Yeah.
at this point, but they hadn't been that connected. But they weren't that interconnected then as they are
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, it got worse later on. But as far as
Yeah.
the Plantagenets are not
Yeah,
the
because
one that did
they didn't have many options to choose from, so things got crazy.
Mhm.
that. He just, man, I feel sorry for him, man.
He seems to have been convinced that the basis of his power lay in the special authority of sovereignty. He was the first English king to have portraits made. Instead of wars, he offered tournaments accompanied by music and dancing with the ladies of the court. But Richard's choice of companions were not the kind of men that most barons approved of. And above all, Richard abandoned the war with France, leaving France in control of Flanders. Unpleasant references were made to Edward II, and look what happened to him. He found himself up against a group of noblemen who called themselves the Lords Appellant, appealing to have his closest advisors removed and take over the government, which is what happened. Richard was effectively dethroned. He was able to recover power in 1397. As part of his efforts to secure his throne, he exiled Henry Bolingbroke, John of Gaunt's son.
Uh-oh.
But Bolingbroke came back with a vengeance, and Richard found that wherever he turned for support, it simply wasn't there. Bolingbroke captured him, demanded his voluntary abdication, and then sat on his throne. Richard disappeared into a prison in Pontefract Castle, where he was murdered. Richard had no children. The line of the Black Prince, Edward III's eldest son, had come to an end. The proper heir to the throne was an 8-year-old boy called Edmund, living in Ireland, the great-grandson of King Edward's second son. Henry's father was the third son, so Henry was certainly not heir to the throne.
Becomes king anyway. And by the way, if I may add, out of all of the out of all of this swag, out of all of the the drip or his attire, I think Henry the Fourth, he has the best look. Especially his hat, the way how his hat looked. I loved
Yeah.
it. Right? I don't know how
Ye-
or why any other kings after that did not have that same hat. It was just him. It looked awesome.
Maybe he took it with him.
It's like no one can wear this hat but me. And the funny thing is, even when you see it, you'll be like, yeah, it is a cool hat. It is.
He patented it.
It
he
is.
patented it.
You check this out.
But he was a big man with a big red beard and a big army, and he was sitting right there in England on the throne.
Check out the hat. Look at this. Oh my god. I would actually wear this today. I would. If I can get it. I would wear this today, seriously.
Not in Ireland, not 8 years old, so Parliament decided that he was very definitely fully entitled to be King of England. Oh, yes! Edmund spent the whole of Bolingbroke's reign as a well-maintained prisoner. Henry was the first king to speak English as his native tongue. He was personable, brave, and a very...
Did you guys hear that? Yes. Henry the Fourth was the first king since the year 1066 to actually speak English as his native tongue. And it's been about what? It's been about 400 years. Yeah, it took that long.
Yeah.
It took that long. Yep.
capable leader in battle, but without legitimacy. He was clinging to power
Well,
by his
how long did it take
fingernails.
the United States to actually have a president that was born in the United States?
Not that long, actually.
Yeah.
The United States became a state, became its own independent officially in 1785. Officially, right? Now, the first American president to be born in America is the 8th president, Martin Van Buren. And he was born, let me check out exactly when he was born. Martin Van Buren was born in allegedly 1782. But yeah. So yeah, the 8th president of the United States was the first American to actually be born in the Independence or Declaration of Independence post after that. So that took what? 5 years? 6 years? So yeah. Meanwhile, these guys are taking like 400 years, which is, England, why not?
Anyone who doubted Bolingbroke's right to be King of England could expect to be part hanged
Just
and then
one,
have their intestines pulled.
just a second.
Go ahead.
Just keep this in mind for a few days, for a few streams later, because
Okay.
this is going to repeat again.
Oh yeah, that. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You're talking about Edward the Fourth, right? Or
No, I'm talking about George the First and Second.
Yes. Oh, that's a long way from now, really.
Yeah.
Out before being killed. His regime became ever more repressive as he became more worried. There was an uprising in the north which he put down with real ferocity. It was said that he personally killed 30 men in battle.
And the air hung heavy with the smoke of burning flesh as the English church, under this new regime, began burning heretics.
be heard.
The usurper needed to rule by fear, but the most frightened person in England was him.
Government was taken over by his son, also called Henry, a young man who'd grown up fighting on his father's behalf. In fact, Parliament suggested that the king abdicate in his son's favour, which he refused to do. In 1413, the Grim Reaper came with a more convincing offer. He was only 45 years old, and the 26-year-old Henry V was crowned in April
in a snowstorm. Henry V did all he could to get the country back onto a stable
Okay,
footing.
no, I'm not.
Henry V did all he could.
What's up with the hair? Why?
Yeah, I have a bone to pick with whoever came up with that fashion.
I mean, he was the king. What were you gonna say, dude? You're ugly. Like, what were you gonna say?
No, not about him. You see that haircut everywhere in that around that time.
Was that really the fashion back then?
I think so. I think it was. I think I'll look at a few more portraits.
You know the sad thing is, a lot of I check out like a top 10 list of greatest English kings. Apparently, Henry V is up there. He's considered. I think it's him. You also have Alfred the Great from he was pre William the Conqueror. I think he's known as the greatest Anglo-Saxon actual English king period. But it's him, Alfred the Great, and also they have Edward the First and Edward the Fourth. What would you say to that?
I think like I wouldn't make any conclusions just right now. I would like to.
Okay, no problem.
I would like to refresh because it's been a while since I've seen this particular documentary.
Okay. No worries. But that haircut, oh my god.
Oh yeah, that haircut.
It looks like a
He looks like a priest.
Yes, he does. And what is up? Why does he look like? Oh my! It doesn't even fit. Like, dude.
You know what it looks like? Dexter's laboratory. How Manduck cut his hair.
Oh.
That's what it looks like.
I can actually see him fighting somebody in his camp for laughing at his hair. So what'd you say? Maybe he has a bald spot. That's just a toupee or something like that.
Probably.
To get the country back onto a stable footing, he gave Richard II's remains a proper burial. And of course he got back to the important business of invading France.
France was still in a state of disintegration, ruled by Charles VI, a man with a severe mental disturbance. In a fit of derangement, he'd slaughtered...
Yeah, Charles VI. Apparently he was inbred. He was extremely inbred. Charles VI of Spain. He was... I don't know.
I think you should check backstage. Your sister's there.
Oh, she is. Well, she can stay there. No, I don't see her backstage.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't see her. I'm looking right now. I'm not.
Oh,
Yeah, she'll be back. She always comes back. Yeah, she'll be back.
his own attendants. Now he believed that he was made of glass and about to break. He actually had iron rods stitched into his clothing.
It was easy meat, and Henry's overwhelming victory at Agincourt in 1415 destroyed much of France's aristocracy. The English king was now in control of Paris. Charles, very fragile, agreed to acknowledge Henry as heir to the French throne. This meant disinheriting his own son, the Dauphin. And Henry took Charles's sister, Catherine de Valois, as his bride. What a great place to end the story. England safe, Edward III's plan to take over France brought to fruition, a genuinely popular king, and they all lived happily ever after.
Uh-oh.
Not.
In
What is
1422,
wrong with this guy?
Henry V, not yet 35 years old, contracted dysentery and died. England had a new king, Henry and Catherine's son, Henry VI. 6 weeks later, the King of France also
Now
died,
check
and Henry VI.
backstage. I think she's there now.
Okay, cool. There she goes. Okay, I'm gonna change her name because of yeah, I have to change her name now. No. You know what? Let's just do this. Yeah, no. I saw what you did. No. You're not cool. Hey, I did that. Oh yeah. Yo, I want you to check this out. There's this guy with a stupid haircut.
Yeah, I saw him. I was saying he looked like an acorn.
It's like an acorn. Look at this hair. By the way,
Yeah,
fix your sound a little bit. Fix your sound a little bit. You're a little bit in the back.
Oh, I am?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know how to do that.
Well, okay, we can hear you a little bit. Looks like you need to get hip to Android phones.
Can you hear me now?
A little bit better, but still.
A little better?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Okay, I don't...
You're fine. You're fine.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and continue. Dang, boy. Like, get a better hair. Oh, no wonder he died early. It's probably the hair.
England had a new king, Henry and Catherine's son, Henry VI. 6 weeks later, the King of France also died, and Henry VI became King of France. Just one problem. His Majesty King Henry VI was only 10 months old. The Duke of Bedford was appointed Regent of France and the Duke of Gloucester Regent of England. And the baby's kingdoms, especially France, were in serious trouble. The Dauphin wanted his kingdom back, and everything the English had done, ravaging the countryside, destroying all authority and stability, could have been calculated to create a passionate nationalism. It was entirely natural for people to believe that Joan of Arc was on a divine mission to drive the English out of France and give it its rightful king.
Yep.
Under her inspirational
The
leadership,
Joan of Arc?
the Dauphin
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is the 100 Years' War was where Joan of Arc started. Joan of Arcing. But it, it didn't really work out well for her. I mean, to put it mildly. So yeah. So after through Henry V, after Henry V kind of took over the territory in France, Joan of Arc saw that and said, "Nah, this grinds my gears. Let me actually come and pretend to be a man, cross-dressing and fighting. Even though I'm a good fighter and these guys can't handle me, I'm the original Mulan. Yeah, nah, it's not working out. So
She's still a woman.
yeah, at the end of the day. And now, if anything, now they have a mission because that woman was leading men and killing men. So now, she has to go because, she might give other women ideas. I'm just saying. So, yeah. And that's not even the worst part. Do you know what the worst part is? What they did to Joan of Arc?
Mm.
After they killed her, they made her a saint.
And they killed her for heresy, no less. So
Yes.
make up your
For
mind.
cross-dressing. They killed her for, the church. There was the church that killed her, by the way. And after they killed her, not 20 years later, she's just a saint now.
Like, make up your mind. What is she?
Like, wait a minute. I guess, hey guys, maybe we were doing well with her because we're getting our butts whipped without her. It's like, you know what?
Revisionist history.
That's the problem. So I'm saying, if you're gonna kill her, okay, first of all, I don't agree with you guys killing her. And for me personally, if I'm in a battle and this girl is winning, she's causing us, I want to go home to my family. And if she's our best route, I don't care. But if you're gonna kill her, don't make her a saint. Like, Don't do that. Just keep it the way it is. Be consistent. Don't say, oh my God, Joan of Arc. She's a saint. You killed her. Don't worry about that though.
Hey,
Go-
they did that to
I can
Jesus.
imagine someone saying, whoops.
he said, "Whoops, yeah, our bad."
They did that to Jesus, no?
No.
Well,
No.
they killed him afterwards. Then it's like, oh, it's Jesus. They still killed him.
Revisionist history. They try to say, "Oh, well, nah."
Jesus was one of us. Jesus was a Jew.
Oh, you talking about the Jews boasted?
Yeah. But they killed him.
They thought they did.
But he was a
Yeah, they
Jew.
thought they did.
They thought they did.
Yeah,
So okay.
they do that.
Dauphin's forces took over Orléans and Reims, and he was crowned King of France in Reims in 1429. Little Henry had still not been crowned king of anything. Something obviously had to be done about that, so later the same year, now 7 years old, he had a coronation in Westminster Abbey. The idea was then to get him to Reims, where kings of France are supposed to be crowned. But that just wasn't safe, so he ended up being crowned King of France in Paris. It was all a mess. In fact, English forces were now fighting a losing battle. The new factor in the equation was gunpowder. Cannon and handguns changed the whole nature of warfare. And Henry did not grow up to be a warrior. A quiet, studious young man, he never felt it was his job to lead the English forces in battle. They were finally destroyed at Castillon in 1453. The 100 Years' War was over. England was left with no possessions in France except Calais. But Henry's problems had barely begun. The taxes needed to fight the war and corruption among royal officials meant the country was disheartened and angry. And the issues of legitimacy that had lain pretty dormant in England since Henry Bolingbroke usurped the throne were now coming out of the woodwork. Richard II had been the last legitimate king of England, if there was such a thing. He'd been succeeded by his murderer, Henry Bolingbroke, the father of Henry V, the grandfather of Henry VI. They were all descended from John of Gaunt, Duke of Lancaster. But that wasn't
Yo, sis, does that name sound familiar to you? Lancaster.
Yeah, the Lannisters.
Yeah, that's one side.
the legitimate line of descent. John of Gaunt had an elder brother, whose descendants were still alive. The rightful
Just
king
an
of England had
interesting
not
thought.
been Henry.
Mm-hmm.
Has anyone thought about the fact that Charles the Sixth? Sorry, I'm not good at Roman numbers, but Charles and Henry the Sixth both had mental illnesses.
Huh.
I went down a rabbit hole into what the connection could be.
Let's hear
And it was Catherine of Valois.
Hmm.
And that that comes into play much later with George III, because she's the mother of the Tudors.
You know what? Okay, so far, based on this whole stream alone, we've seen two different kings that ran away from their wives. So
Yeah.
now Charles VI was definitely inbred, but then the mother cat, that's a
That's what I was trying to get at. Why they all look,
Yeah, no, this is around the time where it starts to begin. But in Spain, it was already bad. In Spain, France, and Holy Roman Empire, it was already bad. So especially Spain. So Charles VI, I think they called him Charles the Mad, if I'm not mistaken. Is it? Yeah, Charles the Mad, because that dude was again, he was crazy, like crazy.
Yeah,
crazy.
Charles the Mad.
Mm-hmm. And the sad thing is, I know this it's not around this time, But
He's
Ferdinand,
the grandfather of Henry VI.
yeah, yeah. If I'm not mistaken, 100 years from now, Ferdinand and Isabella, right? Is Isabella
Yeah.
of Castile's their daughter, Joanna? Wasn't she crazy too?
Yeah, she was.
That's just and that's just 100 years later. So yeah, the Spanish were definitely had that
Now I
ancestry
need to
bad.
look. Now I need to look at that part of the family.
Literally, because you had Joanna the Mad, even Isabella. Isabella was crazy too, because she started the Inquisition, so she was not really as well. So the Spanish, and then of course they were related to Charles VI, which is weird. So it passes down. Now your thinking starts from Catherine. I mean, personally, I wouldn't be surprised because she's the only common
No,
denominator in this.
I'm not saying it started from Catherine. I'm saying she's
The
she's
connection
the
between
link
those two.
between Henry the Sixth and the Tudors,
Mm-hmm. That's a pretty good
because
point.
Henry the Sixth was the half uncle of Henry the Seventh.
In the seventh, yeah. Oh, from Owen to yeah, Owen Tudor. Then he goes,
Yeah,
and then Owen Tudor does go to France
and
actually, so
then
that could be something.
and
Sorry.
then
Yeah. Go ahead.
that's where the Tudors come from, and then from the Tudors that's where the Stuarts and then the
The Stuarts, yeah.
Hanoverians come from, and then there's Charles the Third and his, we all know that, not Charles
Charles
the
the
Third, sorry, George the Third.
King George the Third, yeah. By the
Yeah,
way, essentially King George the Third is the when you're in elementary school in America, you're taught that King George the Third was the worst guy that ever lived. He's the guy that was king during the Revolutionary War. Man, I remember going to elementary school. That guy might as well just be Satan. I was teachers just said, "Oh, George the Third was the worst guy." I'm over here like, he was evil, pure evil. Come to figure out, this is propaganda. And
he
I'm
was
just like,
mentally ill.
he was mentally ill, definitely. But compare that to any other kings and stuff like that. He wasn't really that different.
And let's not forget his son. Um, his son wasn't dead.
I forgot what his name was.
Whose name?
Was his name George as well?
His
Yeah,
son.
George the Fourth.
There we go. He wasn't so. Yeah, he wasn't so good either. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I skipped the line.
No, it skipped the line with George the Second. With George the Second, because George the Third was a grandson.
I knew I missed one. I thought George the Fourth and George the Third kind of skipped the generation, but it was the second and third. That was my mistake.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead. We've been going on for a while. Let's go ahead and finish this out.
Yeah.
The fourth, but Edmund, the Earl of March. And now that Edmund was dead, it was his nephew, Richard, Duke of York. Edmund
York. Does that sound familiar?
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Dark.
That's the two.
had kept
The Red Rose of York, the Red Rose of Lancaster, the White Rose of York. Ergo, the War of the
And
Roses.
here's another interesting fact.
Mm-hmm.
I keep mixing up the numbers. After the original Duke of York, there has never been a time where the Duke of York title has been passed through father to son.
They just died, huh?
No, every time there was a Duke of York,
It's a
he either
woman.
had girls or he became king.
Because Princess Diana was of York. She was a Yorker.
Oh, she was Duke of York?
That was Sarah Ferguson.
Sarah Ferguson.
Ferguson?
Yeah, yeah.
I thought they get the York from her.
No, it's the traditional title. No, it's the traditional title for the monarch's second son.
Interesting.
And you see why I'm gonna challenge her? No, she knows more than me, and I don't like it.
Well, okay, no, because she came in with a title, though. It wasn't
No,
handed
she
to her.
was. No, she had. She was. She had. No, she was the daughter of an earl, so she did have a title. Yes.
Right, because I know, because at that part I know, because he gained something from her because she came in with the title. I knew that part.
It probably was the popularity.
Well, well, because
Amen.
that was always my gripe with them. So I hate the monarchy. Okay, but let me just clear that out, especially the ones now, and the one that died. She deserves it.
Okay.
It's the truth. She's responsible for so much death. She has so much blood in her hands
Oh no, I don't disagree. Go ahead.
and stuff. So yeah, I'll look at that as well. But I thought that she came in with at least something. It wasn't just it wasn't the narrative, oh, like he just picked her up out of, and this young impressionable girl, because they did gain some wealth, because I knew they gained some wealth from her as well, because they were running out. That part. Right.
Hey man, this one
I don't remember that part.
I'm completely at a loss with this
I'll
one.
look up. I'll look that up.
Okay.
Okay. I gotta do some research too, apparently.
Carefully and probably wise, Edmund, the Earl of March. And now that Edmund was dead, it was his nephew, Richard, Duke of York. Edmund had carefully and probably wisely never made a point of making his claim. Henry IV and Henry V had been seriously powerful men, but Henry VI wasn't in the same league. His interest was not in war but in learning. He founded Eton and King's College, Cambridge, and he was a gentle, pious man. There were many who believed that he was more a saint than a king. Richard, Duke of York, now 40 years old, decided that it was time for the crown to fall into his hands. His claim was supported by most of the barons of southern England. The northern barons felt all this was codswallop. They had the right to choose their king, not be passed like slaves to whoever inherited them. And then, quite suddenly, in the summer of 1453, the king went mad. He'd probably inherited the strain of madness in his mother's family, the illness that had racked Charles VI. The true legacy of Agincourt was not the crown of France, but a recurring disease that would afflict members of the English royal family for centuries. He lost his memory, he lost control of his body, he lost the ability to speak coherently or understand what was said to him. His wife gave birth to their only son, but he knew nothing about it. With the king incapacitated, government needed to be handed to a regent, and the man with the backing in the south to take over the reins was Richard, Duke of York. The inevitable and disastrous outcome was civil war, Lancaster against York. Their badges, the Red Rose of Lancaster and the White Rose of York, gave history the Wars of the Roses. To begin with, it was a war for control, not of the crown, but of the king. Richard didn't want to be crowned while Henry was still alive, nor did he want to kill him, but he did want to control the government and be recognized as Henry's successor. The king made a partial recovery, but was quite incapable of taking charge of his own defense. His queen made an impressive effort to do it for him. Margaret commanded in the Battle of Wakefield in 1460, when Richard of York was killed. Richard's son, Edward of York, had none of his father's qualms about taking the crown. In March 1461, Edward, without any parliamentary approval, had himself crowned Edward IV.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So You're right. She was born the Honorable Diana, um, Diana Spencer, because she was of her. She comes from a noble family, though she didn't have a title, so she was the Honorable Diana. And then when her dad became the Earl, then she was Lady Diana Spencer. And then when she did get married, so that was the highest courtesy title um, an unmarried commoner outside of the royal family could hold. And then when she got married, that's when she was Diana, the Princess of Wales. So definitely, I just wanted to clear that part up.
Uh-oh.
What?
Nah, I was checking out something about Edward the Fourth.
Okay.
But yeah, thank you for the clear up.
Yep.
Now you know something I don't know, and I have a problem. You know what?
I still hate the royal
Oh,
family.
I do too. I do too.
Well, hate is a strong
Same.
word. I strongly detest the person.
What? Okay, well, okay.
I know.
Okay, Miss Advance to the rear.
Henry was still alive, a husk, and became a refugee with his queen. The deposed royal family hid in Scotland. Then Henry was captured and became a prisoner in London. In 1470, an extraordinary upheaval backed by the King of France drove Edward IV from London, and Henry was rescued from prison and restored to his throne. It's said that while Edward plotted his return from exile in Holland, Henry had a curious interview with one of his distant relatives, a boy of 14, Henry Tudor. After the death of his father, Henry VI's mother, Catherine de Valois, had an affair with one of her servants,
Of
a
course she did.
Welshman, Owen ap Maredudd ap Tudor. It was probably King Henry who arranged the marriage of their son Edmund Tudor to Margaret Beaufort, a great-grandchild of John of Gaunt. Margaret became pregnant immediately.
But the Beaufort family were disbarred by ancient royal charters from ever succeeding to the throne. So why did she call her baby Henry? No Beaufort had ever been called Henry. No Tudor had ever been called Henry. It was a king's name. It suggests that Owen had great plans for the boy, and that was obviously what Edward of York thought. As soon as he had Owen Tudor in his power, in 1461, he had his head chopped off.
His head was displayed, lit up with 100...
I mean, you two should have no problem with that, Mrs. Cutthroat.
Hey,
No.
nip it in the bud before it becomes a problem.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I would have done it, but I understand.
candles. Henry Tudor, aged 4, had been taken prisoner. But now, young Tudor was free, and according to later stories, was looked on as an important figure in the line of succession. According to Shakespeare, Henry VI looked at the boy and said, "Lo, surely this is he to whom both we and our adversaries shall hereafter give place."
Of course he
The
did.
following year,
Because Shakespeare is a reliable source, isn't he?
Yeah, Shakespeare's very reliable. Oh, by the way, yeah, Shakespeare. Just to let you know, Shakespeare was alive around the time of Queen Elizabeth I, right?
Yeah.
And take a wild guess on who Queen Elizabeth I's grandfather is.
Henry Tudor.
Henry Tudor, that 7-year-old kid. That's Elizabeth I's grandfather. So of course, what the hell you think Shakespeare is gonna write about him? All the propaganda. Which, by the way, the person that's gonna get it real bad is this. It's always somebody named Richard, man. Like they get it the worst.
I mean, they do call them, what's
Hey,
the?
where that
I
name
didn't
came
say
from, by the way.
it.
Where did that name come from? You know what? I'll do that in my free time.
Henry IV made his counter-strike. King Henry's son was killed at the Battle of Tewkesbury, and Henry VI himself was captured. A few days later, he was murdered in the Tower of London.
No, he was
The Wars of
encouraged
the
to
Roses
die.
were over. The competition between England's barons for control of the kingdom had ground to a bloody end, with most of the great families of nobles having been slaughtered. Henry Tudor was now head of the House of Lancaster. He had no claim to the throne, of course, coming from the debarred Beaufort family, so Edward should not have regarded him as a threat, in theory. Just to be on the safe side, he fled to Brittany. But Henry Tudor would be back, and he would make sure he controlled how the story was written.
All right, guys, let's stop here for the night. It's been a minute.
It has been a minute.
We
It
went
is early in the morning here. It's about to be Fajr prayer.
Evie,
I've
I'm
been
out.
up since 5 p.m. yesterday.
Oh yeah, no, she drinks coffee for a living. Yeah,
Oh
she
my
doesn't
gosh.
sleep.
No, no, I was born with insomnia.
Welcome
That's
to the club.
That's even worse. Wait a minute. So now,
Join the club.
Here's the big
It's
test for you.
4:30 in the morning here, and I've been up.
Yeah,
the
no,
whole time.
this girl doesn't sleep at
So
all.
it's
I can relate.
yes.
You know what? Now here's the big test for you guys. Okay, we went from Henry the Third. Henry the Third. Wait, no, Henry the Second. We went from Henry the Second to Henry. Ironically, Edward the Fourth. Can you two name all of the kings that we've talked about that we've seen that today in order?
You're asking me to think now.
Yeah, I am. Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure the only ones that we remember is that gay dude. That's it.
That was easy with the Normans, but not so much with the Plantagenets.
He's not.
So,
I
Exactly.
know Edward the First came before Edward the Second.
That's a good analysis. Very astute.
I know that
All
part.
right. Okay. That one's a little bit more difficult. So, out of the ones that we saw today, which one spoke to you the most? Which one was your favorite? Which one was the worst? Let's hear some feedback. Because I definitely know who my favorite was.
I like Pope Innocent the Second.
You like the Pope?
I do.
You like the radical?
Well, because it sounds like an oxymoron. Like he's a pope, and his name
yeah,
is Pope Innocent, but then it's like, look at what he did. Like, was he though? It's just
You know, it'd be the ones with the best sounding names too. It's like I'm innocent.
that's what I'm saying. It's like Pope Innocent. Like that should just doesn't tell you everything you need to know.
So
Like if you are a pope and you still need to tell people that you're innocent, like
you know what I'm
wow.
saying? Honestly, this actually fits. This actually fits what we're talking about. Technically, you got the Saints.
I do.
I got the Saints.
It's,
Okay.
it's just so perfect. Yeah,
And I like how out of everything, you still didn't really give me an answer.
I did
You
though.
gave someone that wasn't a king.
Wasn't he though? I'm joking.
Like,
Okay. Well, you said out of the people that we spoke about. Okay.
Which was
let
your
me
favorite
see.
king?
Okay. Well, while I'm thinking, Ahmed can go.
She's thinking too, probably.
honestly, I have a favorite king, but the one I can sympathize with is definitely Edward II.
Oh, the gay one. Got it.
I mean, what they did to him at the end, that
Oh
that
yeah,
was a
no.
little that was
I mean,
over the top.
they did encourage him to die. I mean, he wouldn't. I mean, he wasn't motivated probably. So they needed to take. Well, according to the mother, they needed to take very mild measures.
But that said, what I enjoyed, but three people I enjoyed the most were the French queens, Eleanor, Isabella, and Margaret of Anjou.
Margaret of Anjou. Essentially, um, George R. R. Martin based Cersei off of Margaret of Anjou. Margaret of Anjou was that the king who Henry VI, the one who went crazy, that was his wife, and everyone said that she was the one that was running the marriage. She was the one that's she
I
was the
mean,
real king.
it makes sense if you think about it, and it's not like she had a choice for most of the time.
Yeah. So Margaret of Anjou. So this is why it's based on Game of Thrones. Margaret of Anjou inspired Cersei. Henry VI inspired Robert Baratheon. Edward IV, the current king, is supposed to be Robb Stark. His father died, and now he wants
Also,
revenge.
Henry the Sixth had a son as well, whose name was Edward. So
Edward,
that's
yeah,
funny.
yeah. Apparently,
Yeah.
that one was supposed to be Joffrey, but he died very early because apparently he was cruel. Apparently, I think his name
So
was
was Joffrey.
Edward of Westminster. I think that was his name.
Yeah, I
Um.
think that was it.
hmm
It
And
was
who
probably
else?
just. It was probably a psychopath. That's
Most likely, yeah.
what it is.
You can tell very early. Who else? You got. Oh yeah, Richard Duke of York is supposed to be Ned Stark. Um.
I do think Richard the Second was a psychopath.
Richard the Second. Richard the Second. Really? Why?
Yeah. I mean,
I
well,
mean,
I've heard a
it was
few
the
more documents. I've watched a few more.
it was the face, wasn't it? Let's be honest. Dude looks so unbothered.
They all do. Insane. It was a struggle back then.
That's true, but yeah. Yeah, I also watched another documentary about Richard the Second as well. Yeah, he wasn't the best at all. I
Yeah,
mean,
he was needlessly, you know.
well, unfortunately, he had to axe to grind because he was the one that was very, very self indulgent. He didn't necessarily understand that you can be deposed if they don't like you.
Yeah.
Mm.
And
But
I think being king at 14 had something to do with it.
yeah, that too.
Yeah. Spoiled.
You guys are missing the best one, guys. What about Richard the First? What about the idiot? Like, what about him? That was the most fun.
Yeah. The thing is, other than his title, he's pretty forgettable.
Yeah. It's like you forgot to go. Like, first of all, you took the long way. You get caught. You are you you're released. You're escaping, and then you go and fight without your armor
You forgot it.
and everything, and then they put an arrow through you, and the person that's responsible for it, you give them money, and you die in your mother's arms.
Not your wife, your mother. Hey man, that's entertaining for me. That could actually be a show.
Yeah, yeah, it really could be.
You know what? I can see guys like Monty Python do something, do a show like that.
I
But other than that, I would say my personal favorite, strictly because of the swag and the way he did it, was Henry IV. That hat, man, that hat. That's one. And two, the fact that he saw a 14-year-old king is like Henry. He's looking at Richard II is like, dude, my father should have been king, but I couldn't take over. And of course, he's the first one to actually, speak English as a native language. So Henry the Fifth had a stupid haircut. I'm sorry, I'm not doing it. He says he looks like an acorn.
It does look like a
You're right. I was like, what the hell is that? No. Anyways, oh yeah, you guys want to hear something very funny?
Yeah.
Apparently, in the year 2019, there was a movie about Henry V, right? How Henry V challenged the French, right? Now, guess what? Henry V was played by this one actor named Timothy Chalamet, right? And
Lord.
the French king was played by this guy named Robert Pattinson, right? Now, here's the problem.
Wait a minute. Timothy Chalamet has French grandparents.
That's the point.
He has a French origin. And then Robert Pattinson is British.
That's the point. Meaning the guy playing the actor playing the British king was French, but the actor playing the French king was British. And I noticed that because I'm watching some of the movie and I'm hearing Robert Pattinson, the British guy, trying to pull a French accent, and I kid you not, I could have sworn Timothy Chalamet corrected him.
And he actually speaks fluent French.
Makes you think why?
Exactly.
I said, whoever did this knew what they were doing. They did.
And it goes back to that Braveheart thing where they will change something just to fit their perspective, just to fit their bottom line. So they need Mel Gibson to be William, so he's the Braveheart.
But there's a guy that speaks fluent French.
Yeah.
And you say, you know what? I have a British accent.
Yeah. Yeah. And he actually, like I said, he has family over there, and he used to spend his summers over there in France.
I believe it, but so, and I'm watching that. I'm saying, you know what, and the funny thing is, now that I think about it, Sister Matt, he's got that stupid bald cut. Let me actually bring up a picture of it.
The
actor
I
in
like
the movie.
to call it the man duck cut.
You said what?
The man duck cut, as I like to call it.
Oh yeah, somebody said the Batman. Yes, the Batman is playing a French guy. Yeah.
Oh, his hair is even more ridiculous, man. Let me see, 1 second.
And the guy that played the guy from Call Me by Your Name, he's playing the British guy.
1 second. We're right about here. So yeah, check out his stupid haircut.
Yeah, that's the only reason I don't like Henry V.
Look at the.
Wait, I can't see it. Did you post it?
Yeah,
Dang it.
see it.
I gotta. There we go.
Oh,
Look at Wait. How about this? Oh no, this is not close up. I did a close up. Come on, where is it at? Come on, go sideways, man. They won't make him sideways.
I wonder why.
And he looks so skinny, like he needs to eat.
Yeah, because apparently Henry V was buff.
Right.
Come on now, where's the...
Goodness gracious.
Honestly, why does it look like he's wearing lip gloss or something?
They probably pasted it on.
Probably. But nah. But ultimately, my favorite one to listen to was definitely Richard the First. That one, it was just funny. Edward the Second also, it was more for Gaveston. The guy was just out of
The
pocket.
way he
Love a
delivered it.
movie about Richard
saw
the
what?
First. I said I would love a movie about Richard the First, but not what you expect about the mess that went on.
It would be like a parody. You know, my husband showed me this movie. I forget the name of the movie, but it's like if the world was ending. Hold on, let me ask him. I'll tell you guys. Hold on.
Was it disaster movie?
No, it's another one. It's like, okay, uh there is like this part
Oh,
in the there is this part in the movie where like the dumbest guy in the world ends up being the smartest guy apparently. So they put him, what's the name of the movie? Oh yeah, Monty Python, what's the other one?
I knew it.
Quest for the something.
Que- Quest for the Holy Grail. Quest for the Holy. I knew it. Quest for the Holy Grail.
That one. It was so stupid. It was so
Yes.
stupid and ridiculous. I feel like if they do a movie on the guy, I feel like they would think it's a
In that movie, literally, I spit on you. Your mother was a hamster. These guys. Oh, by the way, oh, she's frozen. She's frozen. She'll come back though. But like, yeah, that movie, Monty Python should have their whole fingers on the. Oh, yeah, she's back. Okay, cool. Yeah, yeah, you back? Hello, is she frozen again? She's frozen again. Okay, so yeah, but I would say Edward the Second and Richard the First were my favorites, just because of Gavston was just out of pocket. He was, of course, they had to kill him, right?
Yeah,
Unfortunately, I don't like how Edward the Second died because they really messed him
yeah.
up.
But honestly, if I was related to Isabella, then I would have arranged a hunting trip.
And it's, I mean, okay, if you were going to be gay, why make it public?
Yeah,
Because England, they really cared about the church. They're really religious. Why make it public? Why not do it in
and
secret if you're
and
gonna do
why
it?
would you let someone offend the daughter of the King of France?
So yeah, no, he had to go. But the worst one, I would say the the worst one, um, the one I really didn't care for was John.
Yeah,
I really did not care for that personally. The best part about John was the woman that took over after him. I think it was Eleanor of Aquitaine. Yeah, that was
yeah, probably.
that was about it. So, but so far everything
Yeah, but
else.
Eleanor of Aquitaine was being Eleanor of Aquitaine since being married to what's his number?
Hmm? Uh, Eleanor of Aquitaine was married to.
Henry the Second. I
Yes, yes,
no,
yes, yes,
yeah, yeah,
yes.
yeah. She's been doing stuff like that since she was married to Henry the Second, so I'm not surprised there.
Married to Henry II, had relations with Henry II and his father.
Ugh.
Brother, I would know. No, I cannot. I can't. And we both we know that Henry knew. That's why he didn't want to be home. Okay, that's why he didn't want to be home. So, but anyways, guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming. It's getting about that time. I'm gonna close down the stream. And again, I appreciate your input, Sister Matt. I appreciate you hearing your voice for the very first time. Wow, you're very, as smart as you are, throughout the chat, you're even smarter to have a conversation with. So I really do appreciate that. And of course, older sis, you I, you're okay, I guess.
It's
Well,
okay.
I will apologize for my bad English, though.
Oh no,
Oh,
no,
what
bad
you mean
English.
bad English?
Oh no, no, no. It's fine, really.
That was perfect. That was not bad English.
Mm-hmm.
You
Seriously.
speak, you speak better than a lot of people.
Really. Sister Ma, you realize that now that I've heard you, I need to continue hearing you, right? Because
You can't
I,
disappear now.
you can't go back to me not hearing you for the next 2 years now. I know.
You
Now, you already spoiled the surprise. You know what I mean?
well, not spoiled. You've already blessed us. You've already graced us with your
Yeah.
presence. Well, not
Okay.
us, him.
Hey, well, she's right. She's right. She's
It's
right.
the truth. You've participated. You've blessed the chat with your voice and your input and your intake, and you're really funny as well and
Very.
insightful. And I am happy to hear somebody else that can make my brother, take a step back a little
Hey,
and not be so much of a know-it-all.
hey.
So I appreciate you.
Wait a minute.
You two remind me of me and my brother.
Why am I catching strays? What I do? Like,
You changed my name.
oh yeah, I changed your name to your actual name.
That's not my name.
Anyways, so you know what? Who did this? Who
Actually,
did?
contrary to popular belief, bathhouses were really common then, and the Plantagenets did did clean themselves very well. It was the Tudors that
Yeah.
had it against bathing.
Well, because the Plantagenets were from France. France was not close. Was around areas, like Al Andalus. They were much closer to around there. It would have been
Another reason why bathing was so popular was because of the interactions with Muslims.
Mhm.
exactly because it wasn't too far from Spain. So they would have
That
had,
part.
at least would have had no access. Hey,
And
wait a
not
minute.
just Spain, also Jerusalem.
Who are these people taking showers? Why are they clean? Why do they smell so good?
That part. But see, I like how they changed it in history. Like they were the clean ones.
Oh, by the way, unfortunately, you want to know what also kind of got messed up for women? Apparently, during the Black Plague, right? Where did the Black Plague come from? It came from those the fleas that were on the rats. Now, essentially two people got blamed for being demonic or causing the Black Plague to happen because they weren't infected. One of those people were Muslims because again they weren't really worried about that. That's why history books don't talk about what's going on in Western Europe during the Dark Ages of the Black Plague. That's one. Another people were actually women. Why? Because in Europe, a majority of owners of cats were women. Women owned cats, and what do cats do? They chase away mice. So when the Black Plague showed up, most people that got infected were men. A lot of women did not get infected. So what happened? Oh, they start thinking they're witches. They're possessed by demons. Because the woman owned cats. That's where you get this whole when you see Halloween, you see this woman with a broomstick and she always has a black cat next to her. It's because of that
Yeah,
propaganda.
yeah, pretty much.
Mhm.
And here's another fun fact why the English did not like drinking water because of yeah,
Listen
that's
to her.
true. They always
It
yeah,
wasn't clean.
so they drank a lot of alcohol.
Oh, really? So it's in their
Yeah,
DNA.
Look at how England, how they
They
are
do
now.
that
There's a
now. They
there's a
do that
pub
now.
there's a pub on every street. Some things don't change.
Wait.
yeah,
They for them, they do the same thing that they do in poor areas in America. Just like how there's a pub on every street in England, there's a church on every street in the poor area. It's like
They
Yeah.
built a, they
If you
built
see a church on every street, you know you're not in the best areas. Yo. So there you go. Fun fact.
You said it's in the dead. Imagine you have all of a sudden. Can you imagine you're a child? You're 15 years old. You start drinking. Son, mom, I was predisposed to drink.
They
I didn't
were.
know.
They are. They do start drinking early.
Yeah,
You know what?
yeah. They
Sister Fatima, you're
most
diabolical
of
with
their
this. What the heck
water
is wrong with
was
you?
diluted. Most of their water was well, it's not water, it's ale.
Yeah,
So
diluted.
everyone was drinking ale.
Oh no, it explains the loss of hair.
She says it explains the teeth.
And the loss of hair and the pot bellies.
No,
Mhm.
the teeth started going bad when sugar became popular at court.
Yeah, scurvy. Also, the rise of
Tooth
scurvy.
decay.
What? Sister? Yeah. Sister Fatima, she's just going. She's just going straight for the jugular. She said explains the teeth. Like, wait a minute.
Yeah. And they lose their hair very early. They have early baldness. Mhm.
Very early. And personally, you think a lot of it was because of the sun. The sun really don't shine over there, so they're not really getting vitamin D.
Son, what son?
They don't get vitamin D. So
They're
Yeah.
one of the few islands that are so depressing. How can you be on an island and you just like? But that's why they're trying to conquer everything.
you know, maybe Richard the First was
You know,
smart. Like he
I
knew to
need
get
to
out of
look.
that.
I need to look at their diets a little bit.
I mean, whatever they ate, we all know it wasn't spicy.
Well, now I can tell you, it's like they do a lot
Yeah,
of beans.
because that was pre-Columbus era, and there was no such thing as chili.
Spice. Can you
There was no
imagine?
such thing as chili. Chili came from the Americas.
Yeah, they eat a lot of beans now, so it's like they eat baked beans for breakfast.
Yeah, they do a
Um,
lot of it.
A lot of beans, and you can tell they don't care about people.
And fish. Many
And stuff,
times since they're an island,
because
fishing was
beans
very
tend to
popular.
give people a lot of gas. So for them to do that for breakfast, they're starting out the day very interestingly.
And it makes sense why they were dying of dysentery. Like,
Yeah.
And stuff. So yes, yeah, that part I know. They're not known for their food. Their food is not great.
I got beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes.
You name it.
Anyways, we can keep this conversation going, but I really do have to get some sleep. Unlike
But yeah,
y'all
but
two.
this has been great. This was nice. It was very. I'm happy to hear your voice, Max, which is great. And then,
What?
yeah,
Say it. Say it.
you need
Say
to go do some more neck exercises. You got to practice holding your head up.
Yeah, I'm petty. Yeah, I did that. All right, you guys. For those of you that are still in the chat, thank you so much for staying with us for all this time. I hope this stream was as informative and as fun as it was for us. And yeah, catch us next week when we're actually gonna finish the Plantagenets, and we're gonna try to get past the tutors. The tutors, there's not that much tutors. It's about what, 5? Wait, there. I think it's 1, 2. I think it's about, yeah. There's about 4.
5.
5. Yeah, the boy, the little stupid boy. Well, 6. Is it like 5.5? Because you got Jane too. Does that count as a half?
No,
Yeah,
she
I
said
think
5.
it does.
Go along with
I
5.
think it does count. She
So-
technically did have her reign.
Technically, so let's go 5.5 because she ruled
Five
like
and a half.
she ruled for like 1 minute.
9 days.
So yeah, so we're gonna try to get past the Plantagenets, the rest of them next week, and then we're gonna go straight all the way past the tutors. Hopefully, by the time we get to the Stuarts, that's when stuff is really gonna go down. So
Oh,
God,
yeah.
so God willing, by next week.
I did. Well,
Go ahead.
I'm just waiting for Henry VIII.
I'm pretty sure everybody is. You know the funny thing is, okay, I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to spoil it.
There is even a song about him.
I am Henry the Eighth. I
Yeah,
am Henry
yeah,
the
that they
Eighth. I
teach in
am. I am.
elementary school.
I
Uh-huh.
got married to the winner next
Where else go-
door.
She's been married 7 times
times
before,
before, and
and
every
the
time.
one was a Henry.
Henry,
We're gonna have a real North Star.
no stop. I'm the eighth. Oh
No,
man,
no,
I'm
no,
Henry.
no.
Henry the Eighth. I am. I am.
Henry the Eighth, I am.
Which, by the way, I'm gonna say this right now. Henry did fall off a horse on his head, and then that's when people started saying he started going crazy. So
Yeah, but his treatment of Catherine of Aragon was going
I
on
mean,
before then.
as okay, Catherine of Aragon was cool because he didn't kill her. So
That's saying a lot.
He
compared to
didn't
the
kill her, but he encouraged her to die.
ah,
Yeah,
I was like, I'm not gonna kill you. I'm just gonna encourage you to die.
she
Okay.
was banished to a very cold.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't. Yeah,
residence.
it wasn't the best.
Yeah, so she was.
And then personally, I'm not even gonna lie. The one who deserved it the most was Anne Boleyn.
She was my favorite.
She was reckless. She was like that Peter dude, Peter Gavston with Edward II. Dude was reckless. And then that's when the guy said, "Oh yeah, of course he had to die." That was Anne Boleyn.
I think, as for Anne Boleyn, I think she was a lot more than meets the eye. She was
She
not
was
like-
she was a lot smarter. The problem is she got too confident. That was her problem. She didn't realize that hey,
She
yeah,
was a woman.
you're a woman.
Yeah.
You secured your position. The problem is the job's not done yet. You can't be reckless because you need to understand he's the king. He's sensitive as hell. Anytime you hear a rumor, don't put yourself in that position. That's why, personally, if Anne Boleyn would have learned what Catherine Parr, Henry's
Yeah,
last
but,
wife, learned, she would have survived.
Yeah, but to be fair, Catherine Parr had examples, and
Yeah, yeah. I was. Yep.
You know,
also,
ironically, Go ahead.
also, I
oh, I think our connection is
Oh, no.
yeah. No, she should be back. Yeah, sister, just not let us know when you fix your connection.
Yeah, but I think Anne Boleyn was my favorite.
Yeah,
She's
she had this she had the story. There we go.
connection dropped.
There you go. No worries, no worries. Go ahead.
Yeah, so a lot of them just happen to be like what I'm. Oh, sorry, what was I saying?
Oh, you're talking about
you were talking about
Catherine
Anne
Parr.
Boleyn and Catherine. Catherine had examples.
Yeah, Catherine was the last of the six, so she had a long list of. She had 5 predecessors to
I
learn
mean,
from.
that's
And he was
And
getting
then-
tired too. He was getting tired of killing his wives.
no, he wasn't.
Yeah, and he was. He was.
Yeah, he
He
was.
yeah, he was.
Personally, I think when he had his finally had his son with Anne Boleyn. No, was it Anne Boleyn that gave him his son, or was
Jane
it
Seymour.
No,
Jane Seymour,
No.
the third one? Yeah, it
Yeah.
was Jane Seymour. So Anne Boleyn was the Queen Elizabeth. Okay, cool. Jane Seymour was unfortunately she died in childbirth. That was unfortunate.
Yeah, and what I like to think is the only reason she's remembered that well is she didn't live long enough to offend him.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, personally, the one that got away with it was the fourth one, Anne of Cleves. Henry thought
Yeah.
she was ugly. That's like, oh well, cool. I'm gone then. Cool. She knew when to get the hell out of there. She said, you know what? Cool. I'll
Oh,
be
she
gone.
wasn't ugly.
Exactly. Let me show you Anne of Cleves.
well, he just thought she was. She's probably much more because He liked them spicy, but not too
Oh no!
spicy.
So what happened? That's an interesting story. But what happened is when she was brought from Germany, Henry started flirting with her, and she
Hmm.
didn't know who he was, and she and he was old and fat. He was really overweight then,
Yeah,
and he had a
it was
stinky
starting.
leg.
Yeah, was it?
Yeah,
I forgot the condition that was called. It was started oozing
he
pus,
had
and it
a
was
uh he had ulcers in his
oh
cuffs.
yeah, and apparently, he, history says Henry thought Anne of Cleves smelt bad, when in reality it could have just been him.
It's not could have. It was.
It was,
So this is
but
Anne of Cleves apparently, and I was like, well,
yeah.
maybe the
So
beauty standards was
when she
different.
couldn't recognize him and she couldn't reciprocate, he was offended. So he
Again, she was smart. She got the hell out of there.
Well, no, he did the classic male. Oh, I didn't want you anyways.
Hey man, look. Next time, don't be
yeah.
fat
But
as a king.
she got out with money, a house, and her head.
Yeah. What more can a person ask for at that time?
You know what? Like, just give your head a hug right now. So yeah, but then out of the five, the dangerous one to me, the one that's just I don't know because again, I have to take the history with a grain of salt. Catherine, yeah. By the way, all out of the six, three of them were named Catherine. This dude
Yeah,
had, he obviously had,
two Annes
he obviously had
and a Jane.
a type. Two
Mm-hmm.
Catherines, one Anne. So two
Mm-hmm.
Annes, and wow,
Mm-hmm.
he obviously had
And
a
a
type
Jane.
and a Jane. And for some reason, the Jane was the one that gave him the most that he wanted. Unfortunately, she died. So hey, so he obviously had a type. The fifth one, Catherine Howard, she was just
Yeah,
she was just politically dumb. Anne Boleyn was at least
yeah,
politically smart. Catherine Howard was not the smartest politically.
yeah.
I was like, you don't do that. Especially like we'll talk about learning from your predecessors. You should have known what happened to Anne Boleyn.
Yeah.
Well, because I guess you probably thought he wouldn't do it again.
You know what? That was the problem.
So, yeah, the thing is, he had mood swings at that point, so she should
Mm.
have been a little more careful.
Yeah.
Yeah, because again, read the room and read your man, read what's going on. And around that same time, England was going through some tumultuous times with France, so money was getting short. Henry was still kind of dealing with issues with the Catholic Church. They were fighting back and stuff like that. He wasn't so liked. So read the room. Read the room. Read the condition. What's going on? Your dude's getting fat. He's got ulcers in his leg. Do you really want to mess with him? Okay. Go
Oh,
ahead.
and they wouldn't close up his physicians wouldn't close up let his ulcers close.
Yeah, because they were afraid.
Yeah,
They were
they
really
were
afraid to
afraid
get
it
close to
would.
him. They were afraid
No,
to
if
mess
they
up.
were afraid, if they sutured up his leg, then the infection would stay inside and spread
It's
rather
spread, yeah.
than, yeah.
But
So they would open up his ulcers every day with,
Oh my God.
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
and they used to cauterize his ulcers.
Oh, that'd be so painful. Oh, now I see why he was so
Yeah,
prickly.
Mm,
yeah.
also, again, we need to investigate that head injury because apparently the
Mhm.
simple fact that historians say there was a huge, believe it or not, before that head injury, Henry was actually known as a good king. Before that, he was because even his first wife, Catherine of Aragon was actually betrothed to Henry's older brother, Arthur.
Yeah,
But Arthur passed away now. But the thing is, Henry did not need to marry her they actually got married because he liked her. You know,
Yeah,
and
he
at that
respected
time,
her. Hmm.
yeah, like he actually got married for love. They literally, you know, because love. Who did that back in those? No, he literally got married for love. And I'm saying, seems good. Unfortunately, you know, everything was going pretty well. Hey, you're going to war with France. You're winning the war. Hey, your wife is pregnant. That's awesome. Cool. Where's my son? It's a girl. It's a girl. you mean a you mean a son? No, 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 no. You have a baby girl. Her name is Mary. I'm sorry. What? Yeah, you have a baby girl. I have a what? That's a girl. Ew. And then yeah, that it all kind of went downhill, and because I believe the only reason why then part of the reason why he got married to Catherine of Aragon was because Spain. Henry wanted an alliance with Spain. The moment that alliance with Spain kind of fell, well, Catherine, what do you get? You don't give me a son, and now because of your name, you can't. You're here to give me an alliance with Spain. Now you're not really giving me that. So, why are you here? And then Anne Boleyn came and said, "Opportunity, got it."
Well,
So
you can't blame her either because she was banished and she just came from France
Anne Boleyn,
and Berlin.
I
She
could
wasn't
definitely.
banished. Her father,
Mm,
her father sent for her to marry her off.
Right.
I
No, well, no, I'm saying like she was coming back from France. Like she wasn't living with her family. They had sent her to France to go
Yeah,
and learn because it was a form of punishment for her.
yeah, but
no,
at the
I
same.
don't think it was punishment. The French court was really influential, and
Taught a lot about
that's
politics.
basically like sending sending your child to the top schools for
Hmm.
an education, sending her
Right.
to France at the time.
Well, yeah,
And the
no,
funny,
I only said that because she had a sister, right?
yeah,
Yeah, Mary Boleyn, yeah, that one.
and the funny thing is,
But the sister
regardless,
wasn't sent away. The sister wasn't sent. She was
regardless,
just different.
regardless of all that, that was a married man. You didn't. As a matter of fact, she kept on toying with Henry, trying to persuade him to get a divorce, get a divorce, get a divorce, get a divorce. I mean, and you knew he really wanted it because this man said, "Okay, I've been excommunicated. I've been excommunicated from the church for you." Like, literally, I got excommunicated willingly for you. I got a divorce, even though the Pope said no.
No,
I said,
it
you know what?
wasn't a divorce, it was an annulment.
Oh, yeah, and that's even worse.
That
That's,
is.
yeah, that
That's even.
that meant
It was never even. It was never
that
even null and
meant
void.
Princess Mary was declared
Like,
illegitimate.
illegitimate.
Mhm.
Yes, that means it was never seen. That's even for you, Anne Boleyn. For you, and now,
Oh,
nah, for
and
me,
guess
she messed
what?
up on that one.
Henry also declared his marriage to Anne Boleyn
Annulled.
uh, unlawful because one of his mistresses was Anne's sister.
Yeah, well, yeah, I
Mhm.
remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, so
And the
not
funny
only
thing
did
is,
she lose her head, her child got the short end of that stick.
He always find a reason or a way of not to take responsibility. It
I
seems.
mean, he's the king.
Yeah.
Duh.
I find a loophole. So for the first one, it was like, oh, illegitimate. We
Okay,
are no.
I think I have to bounce. My phone is at 2%.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
it's time to go.
this
We already
all
said
this
we
is for
were
next
leaving a
week.
while ago.
All this is for
Perfect.
next week, and this is what happens when you get into the conversation. All
Okay.
right,
All right.
everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah, you guys have a
Okay.
good night. All right. Like,
Assalamu alaikum.
wa alaikum assalam.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for staying with us. I know it was it's a business transaction. Sister, Sister Fatima, your comments are out of pocket. So again, thank you so much for the for staying with us. Again, hopefully you guys liked it, and hopefully it was very insightful. It was kind of funny, it was entertaining. because again, history can and is entertaining the more you keep thinking about it. Whether it's how we discuss it or whether it's even what it's the event particularly is. So all we need is an open mind and an open conversation. So join us again next week for another stream, and we will continue on with the Plantagenets, and we will finish with the Tudors till we get to the Stuarts. All right. Until then, you guys have a good morning, good afternoon, or good night. Peace.